Welcome everyone to the Apex Legends African Throwdown, and it feels so good to say that we are in semi-finals day number 1, and today is going to be rough. Today is going to be very rough for my casters, so please bear with us as we take you through this. Of course, we've got Tendo and Iro joining you on the cast today. It's going to be such a cracking day of games, and I can't wait to get into it. So let's take a look at that schedule and see what is in store for you today, because it's going to be a good one. So we've got 4 maps, of course. World's Edge going to be with all of them. Group A semi-finals. So those are the top 10 from Group A and the top 10 from Group B. I said it right this time, Tendo, coming through as your first group of the day. And tomorrow will be the remainder of the groups coming together to show us the absolute action and skill that they have to show. Of course, let's take a look at the prize pool. Why are they here? Why are we here? Why are we all waiting to see what's going to happen with this group and who's going to be moving on to the next phase? And it is, of course, that beautiful prize pool of $1,000, with the 4th place team taking $100, the 3rd place team taking $200, 2nd place taking $300, and your champions of the Apex Legends African Throwdown taking $400, and all the bragging rights that they are the best in Africa when it comes to Apex Legends. Of course, this is a community cup, so there's been such insane talent coming through and such beautiful representation. But let's take a look at how they are going to be able to qualify into the next phase, and that is, of course, with the point system. Now, we know this, we all love this. Points is based on placement and kills, with placements leading you a certain amount of points from 1st down to 20th. First being 12 points, all the way down to 16th to 20th, taking absolutely nothing, zilch, nada. Kill points going to land you 1 point for each kill, so that obviously does reward your teams that are extremely active and looking for those fights. But let's talk a little bit about what we're expecting from the semi-finals today, because Tendo, we've mentioned this before, right? We've mentioned that this is going to be the group of death, absolute death.
Yeah, and I mean, you look across the board and you mentioned some of the teams that are lined up for tonight, and it's kind of scary, you know. I mean, I had Cheetah Boy actually pop into my stream today, and he was just, and I asked him, "Hey man, are you feeling okay for tonight?" And he was just like, "Yeah, man, confident, easy." But I don't know, man. We've got 2 noobs, 1 cheetah in here, Cuff the Genoir, 80K is coming up in here, punks. We have Project Rise up and about, vibing. I mean, guys, it just gets harder and harder. CCP is involved as well, Drip Apex. I mean, it is stacked tonight, and I expect action left, right, and center. They have 4 games to qualify, right? And that's really intense, because by the halfway mark, if you haven't secured yourself kind of in that conversation of being in the top 10, is going to be a really big problem. So I think today is going to be a really, really hot and fire day.
It's especially that case because we've had such, as you mentioned, such big names, and especially, you know, the Carthaginians, when we brought them into the conversation, they led the pack in their group with the most amount of kill points. I think they had 66 kill points at the end of the day, which is ridiculous. They were running with 20 plus kill games and absolutely just going insane. DSG, one of the groups that were playing, staying really, really consistent. There were so many groups coming through that were really, really interesting to watch. Ira, from your point, I mean, I know you did some of the recaps yourself. What are some of the highlights that you saw from some of those groups?
Honestly, you know, 2 noobs, 1 cheater, very consistent in their group, getting back-to-back victory champions. Sorry, this is not Fortnite. And, you know, on top of everything, you also had DSG, who was very consistent in their group. But it's Carthaginians, 80K that we're looking at, and I don't know, like Tendo mentioned, there's going to be action left, right, and center, and I'm only expecting the best of the best to sort of progress into the next phase, and it's going to be interesting. I'm not putting predictions down because we know what the caster curse can do in this situation, so I'm just going to put hands down and let the players do the action, and I'm just here to, you know, eat it all up and be full at the end of the day with the action that we have from both.
Don't worry, I'm not an evil host. I won't be asking for predictions. I'm just asking for general opinions. I won't be doing that to you guys today. But yeah, I mean, we had such beautiful moments for some of the teams. You know, we had Viben obviously coming through Tendo, if you remember, you know, that one game that they were on top of that platform, just beaming and absolutely beaming everyone that they could find. Obviously, 2 noobs, 1 cheater, a team that we were speaking about a lot in their group because they were so consistent in taking the wins. But there's a lot of teams that slip through the cracks, right? I mean, Drip Apex, I mean, Project Rise was also a very big team that we were talking about. The Pretty Pink Ponies were a team that we were talking about. There's so many teams that are so good, and they're all in one group. It's ridiculous. I feel like the next semi-final should be a little bit more balanced, but we'll talk about that tomorrow. This group, however, I feel like I can't call it. There's no way that I can call it. I'm just so curious to see what all these heavy hitters are going to be doing in one lobby on one server. It's going to be insane. Tendo, not asking for predictions, but who would you say you're looking at for your top 5?
Top 5 is hard to call, honestly. You know, I think
It's ridiculous, right?
there's so much pop-up potential from each and every single team that you really have to just watch. And I think maybe after the first game can we really determine our top 5, right? We'll see which teams are awake, which teams are showing up, right? But it's also, you know, later through the series, people have changed their play style, their drop spots, and you never know what people are going to be adapting, what people have been practicing over this period of time. So it's really hard to call. I mean, look, a couple of names coming to me: Two Noobs, One Cheetah, ATK, perhaps Carthage Noir after their crazy performance. I feel like I'm interested to see how Carthage Noir does in this instance, right? Because I think in their in their group stage game, it was a little bit, you know, easy. I think we had just like them, ATK, and the one other team that's eluding my name, the top 3 that
Ominous.
are really, Ominous, just like going up and down, causing a little bit of havoc, right? But now it's like, there's so many other teams that can kind of just mechanically, you know, get up to par to where they were. What's going to happen in all these fights? Are we going to see lots of third parties? Our rotation's going to be quick, right? I don't know. We'll just have to wait and pretty much see. And hopefully it's going to be an exciting one.
I think it's going to be extremely exciting. There's so many teams that I'm looking forward to. Like you mentioned, ATK, Omnis, and, you know, the like in that group was ridiculous. But again, it's so many teams that were in that top 10 for very good reasons. The teams that managed to get there. And I mean, we were speaking so much about, you know, the main issue we saw was rotations. By now, we've gotten rid of those teams that were struggling with rotations. We've gotten rid of those teams that were falling short with some small, you know, minor mechanics that were faltering them time and time again. Now we've got the best of the best. The top 10 from Group A and Group B going head to head, and only the top 10 of those going through to the next phase, which I feel like we are going to unfortunately have to say goodbye to a lot of teams that I really would have loved to see in the finals, because they are such good mechanical teams, such good strategic teams, such good in general teams. And we keep saying this, and I don't think we'll actually understand how crazy it's going to get before we see that first game. But looking at the stats that we've seen, it's a little bit scary for me. Aro, what are some of the other things that you noticed that some teams were struggling with that you may or may not see today?
Honestly, it is, you know, the taking the fights. When it's the right time to push and how long a fight should be. I think the decisions coming into play is that, you know, I would say it's a bit of too much an ego, you would say, when they take a fight, because no one's trying to disengage in this situation. Maybe they know they're going up against ATK and they're like, no, I don't want to lose this, or whatever the case may be. So those fights drag on, the zone then gets pushed onto them, the pressure's there. So I just feel is that, you know, off-spawn situations that we need to see played out better between these teams. If they find themselves in this situation, make the call earlier to decide to disengage, and maybe it plays a role of defense as well, that, okay, well, these guys look like they're pushing away, let's try WK as much, but play it in a smart way that, you know, they know that, okay, we're playing passive, let's respect one another and give each other some space, and you go loot left, right, center, go loot the other part. So that's something there that I would have said that could be better this time, and for the most part I don't see it improving, because, you know, these players want those eliminations, they want those kill points as early as possible to get that confidence going into mid game as well as end game. And it's just going to be very tricky going up against, you know, these players. Like you mentioned, best of the best here. What's going to happen, and what are the decision plays that are going to go into action?
You know, we had this conversation about the ramp up that we've seen over the group stages. Obviously, you know, Group A started was Two Noobs, One Cheetah, you know, relatively, you know, wrenched in the works, and then C and D really popped off. Tendo, we spoke about the pacing that those teams brought, and it was just all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's as if, you know, as the days went on, these teams were just getting better and better and better. And I don't think it's a case of, oh, you know, the better teams were in those later groups. I think it's just, as time goes on, everyone just seems to be adapting and seems to be sort of getting ideas either from watching the streams or just playing as they usually do, they were getting better and better. So do you think that same sort of pace ramp up that we've been seeing, that sort of tangent of like all of a sudden the pacing is getting greater and greater, everything is getting crazier, do you think we're going to see that again as we go through these semifinals leading up to those finals?
Yeah, and I think it's a really good talking point because, you know, semifinals is going to be a weird one for a lot of the teams, right? Because, like you said, you'd probably expect to see a lot of these teams in the final. Heck, we may as well just call this final number one the way it's shaped out right now, right? You know, so it's going to be hard for these teams to really come in here with, I think, the right mentality. And I think mentality is going to be the one that's going to be the ultimate victor of the day, right? Because you need the right mentality overall to overcome the obstacle in the lobby to end up being on top. So I think the teams with the right mentality and the right play style today is definitely going to shine and out-trump the rest of the opponents, you know? So, yeah, I'm just looking across and I'm just trying to think exactly like, you know, drop spots as well. How contested a drop spot's going to be for a lot of teams when that comes to the conversation as well, because you might find that 3 top dog teams want this top loot area because, you know, it's high contestation, right? Fragment, for example, we might see a lot of teams there. Will the lobby just die out instantly for those kind of reasons? You know, that's going to control a lot of the pacing. So again, we come back to like this boxing match in this first game that we're going to see, where it's like, okay, here's the jabs. Here's where I'm landing. Here's where you shouldn't be around, etc., etc., etc. And that's when we're really gonna see like what's the full pacing of the game, right? Which teams like in the right head space to control the pacing of the lobby, right? Because sometimes it's interesting because one team can really control the pacing of an entire lobby. I mean, it's very evident.
Yeah,
It's exactly that. And I agree with you. Drop spots are going to be interesting because now, you know, these teams have come from their group stages. They were used to, okay, well, you know, for example, Fragment. We know that, you know, if you drop Fragment, maybe one other team will be there. We know which team that has been up until now. And once again, the teams have been shuffled. And once again, there's new opponents that they have maybe not seen before, maybe not played against, you know, locally, because obviously it is an African-wide community tournament. There's some teams here that others haven't seen yet, especially if we talk about our local scene, South Africa, and we move over. I mean, the teams from Tunisia, from Egypt, you know, they really came out swinging, and we weren't expecting that. We knew our local legends, and now these other African legends came through and absolutely smashed the competition. So if they're going to be looking for the same sort of drop spots, then we might be seeing some of our best teams that we are expecting in those top 5 to not find their way to their top 5s. And it's 4 maps, Iro. It's 4 chances for these teams to pick up enough points to get themselves into the top 10 slots. That's a lot of pressure. So how do you think these teams are going to be able to deal with that sort of pressure?
Honestly, like I've mentioned in the previous group stages, these are learning phases from game 1 to game 4. You get to understand who you're going up against, what your drop spots and rotations are looking like. You may find that, you know, you had a perfect loot path, but now all of a sudden it has been looted already. The loot scuffed going into end game. Therefore, you now need to strategize going into game 2. Maybe you're looking at questions, who was in that area. Maybe we can W key quicker and so forth. So honestly, we are looking at, you know, the top 10 of each group stage from A and B. You know, we on the scene over here. So I think that these teams are going to continue being consistent across the board in terms of their gameplay. And hopefully we do get to see that.
I am hoping for that. We are just having a few issues with some connections, but once those are sorted out, we will be starting with the lobby. So just hold it with us for a little while longer while we have our mini Apex Legends podcast before the game. It's always a good thing to have. Always some good discussions.
Like I was mentioning, the way the games sort of play out is game 1, you learn, you understand who you go up against. Game number 2, you sort of adapt, you change those strategies, and you do better. In game 3, it's just roll the dice and whatever happens. And especially for the bottom 10 who won't be going into the next phase, they're just going to be rolling and trying the best they can. So players across the board are going to be feeling pressure from game 1.
Tendo, anything to add on to that strategy that the teams need to be taking into these 4 maps there? Because obviously they have one day to get themselves into those top 10 slots.
I think the biggest one is probably going to be legend composition, right? And I don't think we've touched too much on it because I think during the African Throwdown so far, we've seen, at least in the group stages, just a mix and match of what people felt would work for them, right? And we saw a lot of Seer, a lot of Caustic, a lot of Octane. But are we going to see it now? You know, is everything changing up? Do people have different strategies coming into this one? That's going to be an interesting one to see. And it looks like it's finally time to get into it.
Oh, yes. It's the first map of the semi-finals for the Apex Legends African Throwdown, brought to you by NODWIN Gaming Africa. I'm going to leave it to our wonderful casters, Tendo Plays and Ira OG, to take you through the action. It's going to be cracker game, so you best stick with us. Guys, do what you do and take it away.
All right. It is the first semi-final day here, Iro, and I mean, I'm excited that we're finally getting to go into this one. And I mean, it's you know, prediction-wise, we shouldn't really do predictions, but any teams you're feeling that right off the bat are really gonna just impress everybody and just show that they're here to play.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I mean, for the most part, you have seen literally every group stage. You've seen A and B together. You've seen it back to back. How do you think this day is going to line up? Do you think it's going to be a fair top 10 versus top 10?
Yeah, man, it's really tough, right? Because like, you know, there's those top 10s that snuck into this affair tonight that we're just like, yay, they made it into the semifinals, but like, will they perform in the semifinals, right? You know, you gotta look at the streamer teams on opposite side, obviously, right? Mamas Uwus, we haven't really pulled that conversation into perspective, and here we are, they're in the semifinal. Will they make the finals? That'll be a feat, right? But we'll just have to wait and see as we are dropping in over on World's Edge here, ladies and gentlemen. It is the African Throwdown finally happening here, hosted by NODWIN Gaming. It's going to be a big night. It's Group A semifinals, and let's check a couple of these drop spots to see exactly where the teams will be heading.
No, for the most part, I'm seeing some of these names. Heavy Guacamole, which we saw in Group B, as well as Mr. Titan, were actually ex-pro competitive players for Fortnite. So it's interesting to see that they've made the full switch and actually doing really well.
Okay, guys, hold on a second. There's 1, 2. Okay, the rest of them are flying across. I almost for a second thought the teams were gonna land in Fragment and we're about to see a madness unfold. But there's a lot of teams going towards that north side of the map. As usual, north side of the map is usually pretty contested. I think a lot of teams feel pretty comfortable on that side. It hasn't really been changed that often, you know, in the renditions of World's Edge. So I think a lot of people are used to some of the rotations, but we do see a lot of stacking happening. Yeah, CCP's in a big fight. Caustic Barrels is going down here by Judo. Just Joker's taking up a lot of damage, as well as Tran. Tran goes down. Everything is just popping off right here, right now in Countdown. We've just tuned in, ladies and gentlemen. If you're tuning in with us, Drow's giving CCP a run for their money. And Drow performing so well of the bat, and that's exactly what you want to see. That's exactly the fight that you need to be cleaning up in the beginning. LEKP selling the squad down, getting those early nerves shaken off.
Yeah, for the most part, it's go back to the lobby, think what you can do better in terms of your drop spot, where the off-spawn loot that you can find in terms of weapons and so on. It's going to be very hard now going into game 2 with already, you know, getting eliminated off the bat. You've waited your whole day, you practice, you plan. That's going to be a change of mentality for most if they don't know how to handle those situations.
Yeah, definitely. Lots of teams are going to have to change how they play if they're not comfortable with how the lobby was rolling for them. And there's a lot of teams here, and Skyhook for the most part. Mama's Ooze close by to Don't Stop Gaming. When we see here, they are playing a bit of an interesting composition, I'd like to say. Bloodhound, Bangalore, Gibraltar, pretty aggressive. And they can hold some ground quite well. Nando looking for a pick through the window, but not really getting anything as they're on the opposite side of the building. They look to be rotating towards Trials for the most part, Mama's Ooze, and they don't really want to get involved in this. I do see Innovative Gaming is here as well. So we're already seeing a lot of these conflicting A and B drop spots from the group stages. as Mama Woos try to make their way out of here.
Ooh, trying to take a havoc in that distance, not going to be that consistent in terms of aim. But it does look like Nando Broseph on his end, he's going to get absolutely beamed. Heaven knows what had happened over there. And we just tune on to him taking a battery on the other end. Mama Woos trying to disengage, trying to get into loot paths over there. And you can see the ability sort of popping off here from Mama Woos. So definitely being targeted in some way or somehow.
Definitely. The zone is pulling towards that thermal side on that south side of the map.
Yep.
So lots of teams actually have to make a really, really big rotation coming from the north side, and it doesn't really seem like anybody's making those calls just yet. Probably a lot of people still trying to get a little bit of loot. It does look like OG is in the vicinity, and there is a team towards the tree side. I think a lot of those Skyhook teams are going to get caught in transit. I do see the Carthaginians making their way up as well into Skyhook, so there's going to be an all-out warfare there as the zone starts to close on in. There's a big fight actually breaking loose. Yeah, just out here at the staging area. Drow, who've rotated past after cleaning up CCP, seem to be in another fight. They're holding steady for now.
They've already gotten themselves that confidence start off spawn. And now they find themselves yet again in another battle. It does look like for the most part they are, setting that aggression there, but the teams are not going head to head here as we expected, Tendo. And I mean, those rotations are going to be very tough. A lot of them are going to be pinched, and we're going to see the action unfold for us. And I mean, for you, like, how early is early rotation? Once you see the zone form and you take your gun, do you have your load out and you make a run for it, or you make sure that every single inch of your PRI has been looted?
Look, I think in the first game, it's definitely let's loot every single inch of the POI first. Let's get, some good utility going into that zone. And then after that, you just have to push the button and immediately set that rotation out. I feel, the longer you spend wasting time, the longer, it's gonna, not the longer, the harder it's gonna get for you to get inside the zone, right?
Yeah.
Because then everybody else has rotated ahead of you. And I mean, after the first game, you'll, again, come back to that topic we keep talking about, pacing, right? Because the pacing is really going to determine how fast you have to loot and move. But for now, zone is closing in. I mean, teams are making rotations quite fast compared to what we've seen in other lobbies, right? So they are hanging around here and there. The dome right there, Reduce, 2 noobs, 1 cheater, looking to just opt out to loot everything out before they make the rotation. But teams are making their way in as we tune into Dark Esports.
Yeah, Dark Esports looking really well. Load out Evo shields as well. You got a purple, blue, and blue. Flatline R99, so really close combat, far distance weapons as well for the most part. And that's really where things look juicy, is that you can utilize the most part. It does look like we have something happening at Landslide. Couple shots going off in front over there, and these players are starting to get closer and closer to each other, and that's going to be interesting. For DSG, you got Paul, who's really not with the best Evo shield, but they do find themselves with one in Carthaginians now taking the beam over here with that G7 Scout, and it's Octane with the Revenant over here, something we didn't see too much in the group stages.
Yeah, quite interesting actually. Ooh, Hayes goes down to a crazy Arcstar there. That's a little bit unfortunate that he's going to have to back away from that situation. The Carthaginians seem to be on a rampage as usual. They're not really backing off, and they're trying to dictate their gameplay onto the lobby. Don't stop gaming. Do recover Paul, fortunately, so they will stay up as a full trio. The Carthaginians are making their way into the zone. They're hugging the edge of zone, which they do quite often as well, right? We saw that in their group stage. They're looking to clean up a lot of the kills of these squads that are making these late rotations, that are squandering their positioning in the zone. So Broaden sees somebody in the distance. Not going to take those shots though for now. Just up for their rotation, just to get around the edge here, just to keep themselves in. We still have 19 squads here, Iro. And I mean, this is as competitive as it gets, right? First zone, nobody's really gone down except for the one contestant that we saw earlier on. Lots of teams about to get stuck in these rotations.
Yeah, no, it's going to be crazy. And for Carthaginians, who are really amazing at their gameplay, looking at their group, they come out first. They know exactly what they're doing. If it's late rotations, hugging the zone and so forth, that is the play they're going in. They know the competition is a lot more tough, a lot more serious. and they're dealing the damage with that G7 Scout. There's an Octane Cube being popped as well. Carthaginians, however, being absolute beams, and you're going to see now Domino getting knocked, but here's the team sort of cover up in for them, and they can easily get this revive. There's the Octane as well in a tough position, but making sure that everything's sort of sorted over here. And this is what we were talking about, you know, they know how to play these positions, and they're playing it to their best that they can, picking up those eliminations. Those are hugging the wall, going up against Carthaginians are just not going to be easy.
Yeah, it looks like Innovated goes down there. As we drop down to 18 squads, 80k in this lobby. I mean, dude, we look everywhere and it's stacked, eh? It's stacked. It feels like a scrim, to be honest with you. Ooh! The ponies look to be in a little bit of trouble. From the top here, 80k raining down some thunder. Will they get that knock, though? It does look like someone's going down to the zone. Looks like Mr. Vinegar goes down to the zone, so that's elsewhere. Not really happening.
Yeah. The 80k, 80k, Carthaginians, ponies, DSG, 2 noobs, 1 cheater. I mean, the end game is just going to be a bloodbath right here, Tendo, and I'm looking forward to it. My nerves and my body's ready for it. It's ready. I'm
just
ready
trying to get your voice ready. Like, all right.
Exactly. These warm-ups conversations really put it in for what is about to go down. And, you know, it's interesting.
Vibing and 80k about to cross paths here. This could be a little bit detrimental, I think. You know, Chambi's really far ahead as well. So let's just wait and see. Vibin is really rotating really fast, though. So I don't think they're looking behind them. So 80k could get the jump here.
Definitely a 3-2-1 could be in line here, as like Luke is quite far behind and doesn't look like for the most part 80k champion. Then do know that, you know, Vibing's to the right as they opt in to rotate towards the left side now, and really good. We really get to see the decision making out from, you know, the different teams. It's not everyone sort of opting in for the same rotation path, and does look like now Champi lines up a massive beam cracking in this, and it does look like that's a call to go in and W key for the most part. Vibing now trying to get the revive on Alpha. All they managed to do it. It does not look like this is a really good position, but there's an Octane cube in place. Champi still beaming right now, trying to get in a couple shots, and there you go. There's that Havoc as well in play, and a Mastiff now, and does look like he's gonna connect. Dizzy trying to do the most, but he's gonna drop down. 80k Kralix is a knock. Alfun, on the other hand, he's also quite separate. Champi making a portal to try and get the team into a better play, because they know third parties are around. Fourth, fifth, sixth parties even may come to into the situation over here.
Yeah, and we're just catching a little bit of that rotation action that sometimes we really get to miss, because, you know, sometimes we're focused too much on the action that happens in the center of the zone. Vibin does well to kind of reset that situation, but 80k's push is good. Krillix is back up. Lots of squads in and around the area. Vibing in a really tough spot. It's Luke left over, and he's going up against a Revenant team, and it's the Carthaginians that are on this path, so 80k need to watch out. Group counterparts close to each other here, as they find themselves trying to get out of the Harvester. And they're running into another team here, but the Carthaginians, they're just growling them, man. They're just going through it. They're looking for all the kills in the area. The cage goes down as well. Sabron drops down with the 30-30. There's so much happening just from this one team, pretty much trying to clean up everybody around the area. A couple of fights are breaking loose elsewhere as well, but now the zone is going to be a big problem here for a lot of the teams. Look at 80k though. 80k is trying to make a fast rotation to not get stuck into this fight. Still 15 squads in this situation, ladies and gentlemen, so it's really heated. It's really popping off. The Carthaginians now need to make their way in.
Yeah, no, the 80k, very smart from them, you know, using the raids portal to disengage immediately, because they know this is the endgame situations mid-game that sort of comes closer. The zone pinching all these players together means that the third parties are around, and Carthaginians were there immediately to respond to all the noise that is around them. For the most part, they're still sitting in zone, and that zone is ticking quite heavy here, Tendo, so they need to make a play into the zone, and I'm not sure exactly what their play is right now, trying to stay in there, as they're going to be using their utilities or their endgame uses, and that's not going to be where you want. On the other hand, 80k do look like very much aggressive, and they are getting involved up here, and it does look like maybe it is ponies on the other hand, as they beam with the R99 at hand, and here you go, Wraith absolutely being broken. Does look like, however, they managed to pick up Mr. Vinegar, and here's a team wipe coming in, and Ponies now finally getting eliminated by the hands of ATK. We did see them in the earlier parts of the game as well, trying to get those eliminations.
Definitely a better looking ATK on the day right now compared to what we saw in the group stages. They're definitely awake and ready for the action. The zone is going to be pulling towards the thermal station, closer to where that train track is. The team of 2 noobs, 1 cheater, I see them down there. They're close to the tree. They're actually engaged in a bit of a fight. I also did see Project Rise around that area, but I think Project Rise might have gotten knocked out a little bit earlier. OG still in the mix, still making things happen. I saw Mama's Uruza as well. Actually, Punks is here in the area, and it's Jeeves sending it to the wingman. And Jeeves takes out Vyaz. The Grim Reaper's down. Unfortunately, in the situation, Punks is on top, cleaning up the loot on their rotation. And I said better looking ADK, better looking Punks, definitely being able to take out such a heavy hitter in the lobby thus far. As they just steady up. Zone is pulling in though, so now they have to worry about their rotation.
For a team to get taken out quite early, and I say quite early because we expect them to go to the very end of the map. For them to be in this situation, it's going to be tough, but it's Vyaz. He, like you mentioned, it's the Grim Reaper. He knows how to do things better, and I'm sure he's gonna hit himself on the back of the head for this one. But game number 2, we will definitely see a massacre coming out from that team.
ATK have fast rotated towards the center of the zone. They're holding pretty awkward position, lots of angles to be shot from. They're actually opting to find a better spot. There's teams in the area already making their way at the top there. And then there's the team at the bottom. I believe that's Don't Stop Gaming. So everybody's trying to find a little bit of safe real estate to work with. I do see Mama Zaruz in the corner as well, edging their way in slowly. This is the Aquaman who are holding this high ground. Charge rifle in the hand of Heavy Guacamole. ATK now playing at the bottom of these stairs in the zone, in a good spot for now, but in line of sight, perhaps, of Heavy Guacamole, but it doesn't seem like it for now. He doesn't look to be peeking in that angle. Still 10 squads as well. We've had a lot of people drop, and ooh, these shots coming in. Can't really do much about that. Even if you try to peek against that charge rifle is just gonna eat away at your armor, charging up those Evo shields.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, does look like Aquaman have been dealing that damage across over here, and Heavy Guacamole continues to do so. Opting for an Owlstar going into the end game. I mean, just how bad of a player. Not bad, but the Owlstar is just one of the worst weapons. I hate it so much.
No. Actually, Iro, in the latest patch of Apex Legends, the Owlstar is actually pretty insane, to be honest with you, man. I mean,
that's the thing. It beams too much, and for me, going up against it, close range is so broken.
Yeah, close range is definitely pretty dominant. And speaking of domination, it looks like OG's trying to enter in here. Takes down 1. They're trying to assert dominance in this building. They're playing so well as a squad. They're sticking on top of each other, taking and peeking pretty much every single angle together. They do not want to put themselves at a disadvantage right now, and they're holding up well. I still saw the Carthaginians on a rampage throughout the lobby, so I wonder how that's going. And as I say that, Heavy Guacamole takes down Krillix. Krillix, unfortunately, is out for the count. I think he did get that finish on that one. So now ATK down to 2. Aquaman still holding a good position for now, but the zone will be moving in. Look where the Carthaginians are. No one's really contesting them. I believe that's also on the high ground of the zone.
Does definitely look like that.
Yeah, everything is a little bit tough for a couple of these teams on the low ground of this rotation as they try to get it inside. Aquaman still holding the high ground.
They need to stop making the rotation, and a lot of players now pinched, and here's an absolute beam with the R301 from Cole, and is able to just beam from the high grounds, and this is the advantage you want to put yourself in, but that charge rifle now putting him on the pinch, and he's gonna get knocked. And just look at Aquaman now with 2 red Evo shields. They're gonna go into this end game quite juicy, but it's ATK to hold them on the end of zone right here. But look who's coming into this position. It's PSG with the Octane Q as they go into the fight, but no, ATK is able to handle themselves, and it does look like for the most part they're able to bring back Kralix back into the situation. So it does look like they're here to dominate and set a game themselves.
Yeah, and I mean, it's action breaking loose left, right, and center. Heavy Guacamole with the beams, but he gets beamed from up top. And there's just so many teams looking in their angle. Carthaginians are still up at the top. I saw them take out Mama's Woos. Look where OG is right now in the situation. Aquaman are diving into this fight as well as they can. Everybody's down besides Nexus. Nexus, only one up. No one's really aware of his situation for now. He's trying to get the thirst on. Tries to get away, but he's in the line of sight of pretty much everybody. Nobody's really looking at him for now, though. At least, and actually goes down. 4 squads left in the zone. Look at where Sabron is. They're pushing up onto this fight where ATK was. They're looking to clean ATK up. I'm sure that's the last member he has. He's just trying his very best here, Krelix. Even 8 in hand can't do anything. The Carthaginians are on a rampage. But OG is still up at the top. OG still has high ground, but look at how the zone is going to pull in this situation. Oh, wait. Look, who's here? It's Punks. Punks all the way from Tree. They're still here. They're still alive. They're still kicking. It's a 3-way fight against full 3 stacks as everything settles down just for a little bit.
Ominous Gaming, Carthaginians, Punks. Who's going to be walking out with a champion right now? It does look like, for the most part, OG and the Punks are going back to back while Carthaginians just sit on the docks, quite quiet over there. And a kill. Does look like he's getting beamed, but there's a knock over here from OG, so doesn't look too good one day. And a kill almost getting knocked also by the gas of the caustic.
It's kind of carnage right now what's happening. Somehow they get the res. OG, they're pushing up on this position. They have the high ground to work with, but Zone's also getting pulled in. It does look like the Carthaginians are going to rev totem in. And I mean, they're pretty much booking their spot here to win this game. As it stands, there's not really much that OG can do from that position, as they're just getting mowed down by the Carthaginians. And they continue their rampage, even in the semifinals.
What a spectacular performance out of Carthaginians right here. They know exactly how to rotate, where to pick up their players and eliminations, and they come through with the champion in this moment with a set of dominating towards the 3 remaining games. What a spectacular performance.
So remember that point that I said that it's going to be crazy in the first game, and yeah, I think we saw what had happened there. The team's absolutely staying alive till the last moment, and then chaos just ensuing. Wow, that was quite a crazy first semifinals game to behold, and actually the return of Revtain. Tendo, what do you think about that?
I mean, it makes sense though, right? I think just based on how many fights were breaking loose on those rotations, how long teams were just trying to withhold from fights, it makes sense to kind of play, you know, that Rev Octane in this situation, because you can just dive into a fight that's breaking loose, get as much damage as you can, or potentially get a knock, pull out of it. And I mean, it works for the playstyle of how the pacing of the lobby was. And I think we also how the pacing of that lobby was. It's slow in the beginning, and then it pretty much just pops off right at the end as teams slowly fall down in pretty much these stages.
Ara, what did you think about the first semifinals coming through? Obviously, the Carthaginians taking that W, and there was a lot of action across the map. ATK also managing to pick up a few team wipes themselves, so they were staying quite active.
Honestly, I saw amazing performance out from the Carthaginians. For me, not to spectate the Group B, I didn't get the chance to. That there was a class of performance, and they just know how to do it. We saw them hugging zone, and you know, for the most part, that's what we were against. You know, make those early rotations, but either way, that hugging of zone really works in their favor. They know when to sit quiet and let the 2 teams fight, because we did see OG as well as Punks go head to head, and they dealt with the most damage. And then Carthagena was like, now is the perfect time, guys, to get involved over here and just do a little bit of a clean that the Punks was trying to, you know, finish off. And they're like, no, we'll take it over from here, and they get the champion over there. Amazing scenes. Game 1 has set the entire performance of what we want over here.
And of course, here is your MVP for the first semi-finals of the day. It's Sabron from the Carthaginians coming through with 12 kills and 2.5 thousand damage done in one single map. That is quite a feat. And obviously, if we're already seeing this amount of kills once again from the Carthaginians, it does mean that they're going to pick up a considerable amount of points when you look at those standings later on, which does mean that they're doing pretty well to get themselves into that top 10 slot, Tendo.
Yeah, and You know, I think Iro said it quite well. The way they play, hugging edge of zone, right? Because at the end of the day, right, we dictate, rotations, but sometimes it's not always the only way to play, right? It's just merely the easiest way to play to guarantee yourself that final spot in the zone. But you can hug the edge of the zone. You can pick up all the fights, all these pieces where these teams are just trying to make their way into the zone, but you're strategically waiting for these teams to break loose into these fights and just come and clean it up, and it works for them, man. I mean, 12 kills. What more can you say?
And that's just on one player. We haven't yet seen what the rest
Yeah.
picked up. So that's a terrifying statement. But that is the first map of the semifinals come to a close. We're going to go to a very short break. But when we come back, we're going to take a look at those standings from the first map and get ready, of course, for the second coming through for the semifinals for the Apex Legends African Throwdown, brought to you by NODWIN Gaming Africa. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to the Apex Legends African Throwdown, brought to you by NODWIN Gaming Africa. Let's take a look at those standings from the first semi-final because they were cracked, and I want to see what happened because those numbers are going to look scary. And here they are. Tendo, please take us through it.
The Carthaginians coming through with 22 kills. My goodness, man. Killing more than a third of the lobby, running through everybody. Then straight after that is ATK coming in with 15 points. I mean, oh, wait, let's first talk about it. 34 points they dropped in that game. So it's like ATK 15 and then like half. They just got like half, just like, nah. But like, you know what? It's cool. ATK coming in at second, Ominous at third, Punks at fourth, 2 Noobs, 1 Cheetah at fifth, Drow fifth, team benched. They came in at seventh. Wow, 2 Noobs, 1 Cheetah actually do pretty well, right? To pick up all those kills. I just actually want to go back on that. To come fifth, just to show how much the Carthaginians were like running through the lobby, that like they were pretty much no kills for anybody to get the points on the lobby. I mean, besides that, Don't Stop Gaming at 8th, 9th, Aqua Men, and then at 10th, Drip Apex. I mean, interesting numbers, actually. Wow.
Yeah, it's actually quite interesting because Team Benched actually was taken out there by the Carthaginians at 10th place. And you can see all the placement points like sort of just dripping down. And then a few teams that managed to get those points, those kill points, they're actually doing pretty decently for your top 10 as it currently stands. Of course, we'll take a look at those overall standings at the end of the stream. Until then, we're just going to be doing match by match, and we're going to have to try and do some math in our heads, which, you know, if you have heard me host, you know it doesn't go great.
Not so even Nintendo will give you the maths.
We don't do math here. We don't do math here.
We do the talking, and for the
we do the talking.
Yeah, 2 Noobs, 1 Cheetah, amazing. I thought, they wouldn't have grabbed that much points, but it's good to see them in that top place position. Mama Wur's also still sort of tied in a way, so she's still not in, and her team can still be in the run for it. So we, would love to see them in the finals. It would be amazing, but hey, man, first place is looking scary. It is looking massively scary.
What's crazy to me, Tendo, I mean, we were talking about Project Rise before this. They were on the second half of that leaderboard. They were the only other team to get a kill in that second half of that leaderboard. So that just speaks to the volumes of competitiveness that is in this lobby. And of course, as we get ready for it, it is the second map of the semi-finals of the Apex Legends African Throwdown. Day number 1 coming to your screens, brought to you by NODWIN Gaming Africa. And of course, thanks to the courtesy of our lovely casters, Tendo and Iro OG, taking you through all the action that is about to go down. So guys, I leave it to you. Take it away.
Ooh, game number 2 here, Tendo. It's going to be crazy. I mean, if game 1 was like that, what's in for game 2?
Yeah, I'm pretty interested to see if anybody has a response to what the Carthaginians are kind of doing to the lobby there, right? I mean, the kill distribution was kind of absurd, in my opinion, just the way everything kind of went down. We had ATK pretty much just holding the fort down in terms of just getting a couple of those kills in the lobby, which we did see them do quite a good job. So I wonder if people are going to let them kind of just run around like they were, or are they going to have a bit of an answer this time around, right? I mean, I think we saw a lot of traffic here and there around the map that kind of caused a couple of teams that we maybe would have favored fighting a different team on their rotation.
Definitely.
But yeah, I mean, second game, here we go.
No, like, it is a good strategy coming out from the Carthaginians, hugging the zone, because for the most part, that is what would happen to the the other players who are not very confident in taking the fights. But for Carthaginians, they know they're really good at the game. So where would you find the easiest eliminations to get? It is those that are waiting in the zone, waiting for the to hug the zone and so forth. So Carthaginians have a really good strategy behind how they work things for the most part, and that's why I feel they're picking up a lot of eliminations, because they can see on the same level of the pathway, oh, there's a team hugging zone. Let's go in, let's clean it up, let's move on to the next one. And that's why they're able to get so many eliminations and just third party as well get involved over this, because Carthaginians are very much confident fighters, but they play it that they're not in confident. If you like ATK and going to Carthaginians on the zone, you're gonna be like, oh, that's a team we can pick up right now. But they're gonna find out that, oh, it's Carthaginians, it's gonna be a tough fight. And if you understand what I'm going with this, Tendo.
No, I definitely understand, right? this pot that we're in right now, probably, if people don't speak about the drop being the most crucial point in this game, especially in a competitive environment, because in that ship you get to see where all the teams are going, where there's going to be traffic, etc., right? So just based on what you can see from the dropship, you can kind of plot out a lot of what is going to happen in the game, right? You know, for example, if you see a lot of teams going to fragment in one of your pub games, you know that, hey guys, let's land at staging where there's like one other team, but we know that we're going to rotate to frag and there'll be a lot of teams, right? So now we get into it, and just looking at that map, there's so many teams again towards that north side, kind of on the south side as well, kind of like in a C shape, you know, on the west side of the map. So interesting. The zone is pretty central as well, so we'll see exactly how that is going to work out for a lot of these teams.
Yeah, no, and I do like what we're getting out from the distributed rotations and POIs that these players have chosen. I'm not sure if Mama Sakubas and them have switched their job spot, but it does look like now they're going up against ATK, and for the most part, I'm hoping that they actually don't get involved over here, because it is going to be quite a elimination going in for ATK, I believe.
Yeah, I think ATK definitely probably favored in this contestation here. Nice thing about Climatize, it's split in half, right? I mean, there's still the option for either team to kind of rotate towards either pole of that POI. So we'll be pulling to Harvester, and Harvester is going to be tough, eh? I think that's definitely one of those where you don't have a spot to play from. It's going to be really tough making your way in to that zone. And I mean, hey, look, no one's died. Still have 20 squads up. Everybody's up, you know. And I think for the first time in a long time, we can kind of just, you know, in this pre-rotation chat, actually have all the squads up and in conversation. And I think, you know, that brings me back to the first game, which CCP went out early. Where is CCP right now? What are they doing? What are they doing differently to impact this game?
You know, you're looking at the Overlook, the Dome, not really being contested. So, and also the Epic Center, not really anyone landing over there. So you do, like, for the most part, you do have the whole map opened and a wide distribution of players, and that's what I really love, is because towards the end game, then we start to see that action, how these players can play to their best abilities. I feel like Osborne situations just comes down to RNG, and those are not really nice, because you may find yourself with a pistol, and you know the Carthaginians find themselves with an R301. It's just not going to be a fair fight. But you can now loot up your PI and then make those rotations, and once you fully kit it, it all comes down to who has the most skill and who can take those positionings and fighting movements and so forth. So I like what we have right here, and I'm really looking forward to what mid game is going to be looking like.
Yeah, I think mid game is going to pretty much explode once everybody makes their way into the zone. Punks here, who did a pretty good job in that second game, will be making this rotate coming in. Punks has been looking pretty good, honestly. I mean, you know, Punks has had a lot of roster changes here and there. And, you know, there's been versions of Punks that have been exciting to watch. But right now, I'm kind of enjoying what they've got on here, you know. There's not too much pressure on the players as well. I feel like no one's really expecting Punks to really do crazy things. They're just expecting them to do just enough and do well enough. And so far, pretty impressed by their play. The Carthaginians here on their rotation, coming out from the tunnels, they've spotted a team, innovated, look a little bit, you know, unexpecting of this to happen. And just look at how sneaky the Carthaginians are. They're sneaking up on this. The cage goes out, so they will get all the information that everybody's in that building. So now Innovated need to hold up. So this could be a really big fight here, right? Because Carthaginians wins this one, then hey, look, they continue their rampage to the lobby. But if Innovated win this, they open things up. But now it's not looking good for Innovated as they hop on in. And look at the nades, bam! What do you even do against such, man? They have a little bit of time to hold off, but no, Idamino is coming back in. Eva Aiden and takes him out. Innovated is caught sleeping, but they're holding up for now. It's Hayes and Instant Kill still alive, but no, Sabron comes in. Eva 8 madness. They're out for the count, and the Carthaginians continue this rampage. First squad goes down there. Unfortunate.
It has to be one of the worst combinations actually being countered by
Dude, that is a good comp, eh? For just like rushing people like that.
Yeah,
Get all
because
the
you gotta
info,
see it.
put the totem down, rev totem. That's actually probably the most broken combination I think they will ever see in Apex Legends. Just like in terms of
Definitely.
just like being toxicity wise.
Yeah, it's
Gotta hate that.
you have to you see how to read all the information and then the Revton to sort of put in the push. And for them, they utilize their grenades to the advantage, spam it. And Oxstars are very deadly. It mobilizes you, and there was a lot of gunfire coming in once that had happened. But yeah, we see in the kill feed Heavy Guacamole being eliminated quite early. We did see them go into the end games and absolutely use that charge rifle to the advantage. So Aquaman, not sure if it was a full team wipe, but we still have 18 spots right here. And here's Team Bench really looking to be beamed, and that All-Star is just the one doing all that action. It's Drip Apex on the height over here. Lucas needing a bit of an evil farm over there. 29 more damage to find him doing really well. Let's see exactly what we can expect. For ponies, we do see them also getting in around over here.
Yeah, man, Drip Apex is in a tough spot. Lucas is down. OG as well. We actually got a glimpse of them. They were just down to the one man. Rondon goes down, and Tas Master snipes him. You gotta hate that. Kid's taking up a lot of damage. Doesn't really look like the team of Bench is gonna stay up much longer. Drip Apex as well on the opposite side. So from now, it's just the Cortic who needs to try and make his way out of here, going towards the epicenter side. Might find a little bit of solace, a little bit of room to work with. I actually see Mama's Ooze on that rotate on the outskirts. Vibing's also nearby, so that's going to be a really big conversation. I think Vibing's just going to clean that kill up real quick and just move on with their lives. ATK in the vicinity, so once they hear that fight, they may or may not opt to come in and third party. Not too sure if Bradley is gonna be like, I don't know where they are right now. The team, okay, they're on the opposite side there. I thought they were maybe playing solo. I saw the rest of the teammates over there. I thought Two Noobs One Cheetah went down, but no, still in it, still alive, still 17 squads.
Yeah, and for the most part, the kill points are really crucial. We did see that there in the standings that, if you pick up those early eliminations, it will be successful. And here's Carthaginians, not stopping on term of the action, and there goes an Octane, and he's able to unload that Eva 8 onto him and get the elimination. Talk about early kill leader as well onto Sabran, and we saw Proxy in the chat, exclamation mark nerf Sabran, but it doesn't seem it's working for the most part over here. And yeah, Carthaginians doesn't now have sort of switched off their strategy as well. We're not seeing them on the zone react. In fact, seeing them involved a lot over here, and it does look like Cheetah Boy manages to pick up an elimination over there. And yeah, Tendo, they just keep on changing. I thought for the most part they would have stayed on the thing, but now they're just unrolling the action.
Yeah, the action's kind of unrolling. 14 squads. Pretty much all of a sudden. The zone is pulling 100% onto Harvester. Look at the rep push come in once again over here. And this time it's Dark Esports who clean things up. And Rev is really in the conversation in this Group A semi-final right now. Really paving the way for teams to get a lot of their success. Gotta love the look, guys. It's just another one of those things. It's just like Revenant. We all have some type of way about Revenant, but we all cannot hate. That has to be the best heirloom in the game. I'm sorry. Anyways, we do have Punks making a bit of a rotation. They're in the outskirts of the zone. They're close to it. Don't know why they're not opting to just run straight into it. Not too many teams around the area. And I think a lot of teams are going to get caught in transit on some of these chokes there, the frag side, where Geyser is as well. So, yeah, it's going to be really tough to get into Harvester as it stands.
Yeah, and yeah, for the most part, you always want to try be one of the first to position yourself in the zone so that you can then shoot left, right, and center, pick up those evil farms and so forth. And yeah, players opting out to stay out right now is not really a smart decision. The Geyser still has a team over there rotating through the tunnels and caves. You do see now about 2 to 3 teams making their way into the zone, which is really good. ATK Esports really also quite active this time around. They got taken out quite early, but still grabbed a number of eliminations to find themselves on top of that leaderboard as with next to Carthaginians. And yeah, it's just gonna be interesting to see who is gonna be the champion for game number 2. You know, for the most part, ATK, Chambi, Kralix, and the team over here need to, they need to prove who they are, and they have so much to do so. So game 2, game 3, game 4 is still on the lines over here, and it does look like they're gonna try get involved into a little bit of a fight with Dark Esports.
I like ATK's mobility, you know. I feel like they started all the way at the north side of the map at Climatizer, and they just on the move all the time, looking for space, looking for where they can play, looking for where teams are, and being pretty active, right? You know, I think they're not as active as how the Carthaginians really play the game, but they're definitely looking for space for where they can play. At Geyser, like I said, that chokehold right now, there's lots of teams in that compound close to where that lava siphon area is. And it does seem like there's a big wall breaking loose, and on the opposite side as well. Yeah, at Harvester, 69 goes down before you can even tune into them, basically. Yeah, don't stop gaming at the top of this hill. Laying down some fire here is clutch. Has to pop a bat for now. 11 squads still up, so there's still a lot of people in the area. There's a lot of teams still to worry about. It does look like Vibing's up against the Carthaginians, and the Carthaginians putting them to work with 2 down already. So unfortunately, it doesn't look good for Vibing. Don't Stop Gaming still looking to gatekeep whoever's at the edge of the zone for now, as everybody's just on these rotations, and it's unfortunate. There's either a team that's in the right spot farming the squads in front of them, or coming from the zone, or you're just in the situation here where Kenpai was.
Yeah, GG's to Kenpai. He tried his best, but unfortunately DSG is gonna able to use the numbers to their advantage and get that elimination as well. Dark Esports continuously find themselves in somewhat action here. As, you know, everyone is just coming closer and closer to each other. That zone is going to be closing in about 1 minute 15 minutes, 1 minute and 15 seconds. We do got 9 squads remaining, however, here at Tendo, and it does look like, you know, a lot of W key happening in the semifinals. You would have expected maybe a bit of a passive play, but maybe they've come to understand who they're going up against. They know the competitions on the rotations, and they're much more confident in terms of taking the fights when that comes into play.
We are seeing a lot more of the teams that are, you know, I'd say our heavy hitters in the lobby still upright. You know, 2 Noobs, 1 Cheetah, ATK is still running around. You know, it makes sense that they're still in this area. Interesting. Vyaz is unfused once again. I believe he was the only one to run it during the group stage, and look at him take some damage there. Okay, I saw Mama's ooze on that side of the zone. Okay, he died to the zone. But look, NJ's in a really tough spot right now. Needs to get in, and that's who Vyaj was shooting that knuckle cluster to. So I almost thought for a second he got that with the knuckle cluster. It would have been a bit insane. But for now, the zone will be closing in for a couple of squads, and there's a fight at Lava Siphon at the entrance here. ATK is involved and waging a little bit of war here. The PK shot goes out from Krelix, does a little bit of damage, but it does seem like everything is going to be steady for now. It does look like Punks on the opposite side here.
Yeah, Punks against ATK Esports has that EVA 8. It's now going to get that knock. There's a Q set on the Octane, but it doesn't look like it's going to get them out of that trouble. And here is at least a confirmation and some kill points for the team, but he's not going to get absolutely beamed. And the zone is going to be putting pressure over here. Does he get out of it? It doesn't look, as he's tanking in quite the damage. He's going to get knocked over here, and you can see that now. And he's going to try get the portal, but it doesn't look like for the most part it's going to work out. Pralex also taking quite the damage. Will he be able to pull off that utility of his lane? One of 2 cheaters also getting involved. Cheetah Boy gets eliminated or knocked over here. Still able to revive. Vyas, however, able to release the pressure, and there goes the disengagement from that team. Esports. Oh, unfortunately unable to connect that final shot onto Domino, and he was also broken, so that EVA 8 damage would have been crucial and, you know, clutch moments for the team.
It does look like Idamino is kill leader with only 5 kills, so it doesn't look like the Carthaginians have really gone through the lobby too much like we saw them in that first game. I think the rotations just weren't really favoring them. Teams were not really on their line of path here, so they still a lot of room for teams to play to catch up a little bit of points in the situations. And now, Twin Noobs one cheater at the top here in this train. They're in a bit of a tough spot because they have to go out in front of everybody. They're kind of, to some degree, like if there's a team there hugging them, they'll be beamed down. They are just going to try to get as much loot as they can for now. They can maybe opt to rotate in the zone to go on the outside there where Harvester starts. They'll take a little bit of zone damage. Might get caught off. But for now, everything is okay. Still 6 squads up in the zone. Everything's a little bit steady. Everything's a little bit calm. The teams are spread out for the most part. So nobody's really colliding with each other. Look, I think they're making that rotation. I think they're going to try to go around. Yeah, they're going around here instead of going through the tunnel. Good decision. A lot more to work with on this side for them. They can see a little bit more. But for now, they're just going to have to hold and heal.
Yeah, but for how long? Because 6 seconds now onto the thing. And there's a seer, so they know exactly where these players are located. And it's Project Rise who's able to detect and get a couple shots with that R301. Can be as well. Also, if both of you in that zone is not going to start pushing in, he does use his Q on Ray. Hope he gets detected. 1 lose 2 cheaters, getting via the John Wick of the lobby, get eliminated. And it's Project Rise to do the massacre that was handed to them. Daddy Cool, who we've seen in game in Group A, actually against VRs in the champion sort of positions, getting his revenge over here in the semi-finals, picking up that team.
Everybody just died off so quickly. We're all up to 5 spots all of a sudden. Magistron is downed. Oh man, Project Rise in a tough spot. They're pretty much getting cleaned up, as well as 2 noobs, 1 cheater. Somehow the Carthaginians are still alive on this rotation as well. They're also caught on this awkward side of the zone, trying to make their way in here. Don't Stop Gaming is holding up pretty well here. Nando and the boys, as they try to keep them out. In a really tough spot here, Cheetah goes down. That's going to be 2 noobs, 1 cheetah out. 3 squads all of a sudden. There's a Kraber in the hands of Nando. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We barely got to witness some of the action that happened here, the way these rotations came in so quickly. Ooh, the Kraber is here and it's prime and it's loaded. The shot whiffed, unfortunately, for now.
Yeah, we've seen some massive moments with the Kraber in the hands, but will we be seeing it with Nando as he has one for himself? Carthaginians, DSG, as well as Nexus being a solo, and he's just trying to get as much cover, but for the most part, Carthaginians are looking to try get this elimination. It's a kill point, and it's gonna definitely add those points that they've already accumulated in game number 1. To find them here is consistency. It's crazy. It's what we love to see. So Aquaman also getting in as much placement points with the solo player that they have. Nexus trying to do the most, and it does look like Sabron just gets onto the team. There goes that elimination. It's now a 3v3. It is DSG versus Carthaginians, who will come through with a victory or a champion moment as they now unveil the endgames moments.
The Kraber could be pretty much the pivotal point in this game here, between the Carthaginians getting their back-to-back win. They are a really good fighting team. Yeah, and the beam comes through from Idamino. So putting a lot of pressure on the side of DSG. 1 Kraber shot in the hands now of Nando, and this one needs to count. This Kraber shot is kind of like him having to shoot a 3 that he needs to hit here in order for his team to succeed. A lot of damage being exchanged between the teams. Zone is going to become an issue very soon. The nade spam is becoming a little bit of an issue as the team is trying to close up the distance here with Bard. And there goes the cage. The cage is good. They can get the totem down if it's in for playing. They're actually going to opt to go right inside here. The Carthaginians on a really good momentum swing here to try win things up. Nando's taking up a lot of damage. He needs to try get a bit of meds here to try keep himself into this one. He just fights left, right, and center in the individual forms here. But all of a sudden, one goes down. Bard is down. Idamino's trying to do as much as he can. It's not enough, but Sabron is there. And Sabron crushes it up. And the team goes for their back-to-back.
Yeah, what a fantastic performance. Back-to-back champion moments here for Sabron, Idamino, and the entire Carthaginians as they now probably double their points overall. I mean, who's going to stop the team? I don't think it's anyone. ATK can't. Punks can't. Project Rise cannot. It is Carthaginians through and through, and maybe we're going to be seeing a quad champion. I don't know, maybe.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I'm asking the question of, okay, who's gonna stop the Carthaginians at this moment in time? Because I thought there it looked really good. I mean, Nando Brosov, took the damage, but they managed to take one down, and then Sabron just goes, gets a 2K, and then all of a sudden we're done and dusted, and praising the Carthaginians for their win again. But absolutely well played to them and well deserved. They really, really did well in that lobby to make sure that they got the W. But I am asking the question: who's going to be taking them out? Because when we move over to the finals, that question is going to be asked once again. And if there's no one in the next group or no one in this group to take them out, I'll let that one simmer for a little while. I don't
I'll
know.
say Nibble Esports. It could possibly be. We'll have to wait and see.
They definitely were on a similar dominating fashion in their group, and I'd be interested to see how those one-on-ones actually go. Tendo, from your side, what do you think of the performance that the Carthaginians have been putting up so far? It's been obviously very fast-paced with that Rev 10 coming through and that Seer combination, as we mentioned. I mean, that I agree with you. I think that's pretty broken, but they've been working with it so well, and you can see the individuals on that team are really, really strong. I mean, Sabron clutching it up there. I'm not sure if it was a 1v3, but he definitely took 2 outs already. So either way, absolutely phenomenally played. But Tender, please, if you would take us through our MVP for match number 2.
MVP swing on by with Don't Stop Gaming's very own Nando coming in with 5 kills and 1.6 damage. And I mean, Don't Stop Gaming positioned themselves quite well there for that end game, I mean, besides having to go up against the Carthaginians, which is kind of just a bit of a mission right now, they did pretty well. So big ups to the squad. And I mean, back to the question, how do you stop that combination that they've got going on? The Seer, the Revenant, the Octane, it's the perfect read for how the lobby is going out tonight, right? Everybody's, again, really aggressive, taking these fights on these rotations that are really detrimental to them. But they're just capitalizing on the fact that, like, hey, we get all the information and we have a second life here, and we can play with the pace, of being really, really fast. They're just using all their advantages, their mechanics as well on top of that, right? So tough one for Don't Stop Gaming to win at the end there. Like I said, man, that Kraber just needed to be like a young Kobe, and it would have been theirs, but unfortunately, no shots connected.
Yeah, I think the Carthaginians also just putting on a lot of pressure. I mean, the alternator as well in the play. It was a busy time, but ultimately the Carthaginians once again took map number 2, took the W, and are looking really good to move on to the next phase of the African Throwdown. Talking about the African Throwdown, we're going to be going to a short break. When we come back, of course, we will be looking at the standings of match 2, seeing where all your teams, all your favorite teams, might have landed, and of course, prepping for the third match, because we're officially on that halfway point. So it's just getting started. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to the Apex Legends African Throwdown, brought to you by NODWIN Gaming Africa. So map 2 done and dusted for the semi-finals. We're going to take a look at those standings shortly, and it's been an interesting topic of discussion so far. The Carthaginians have been running away with the games. Let's take a look at those standings and see where exactly they actually ended up. So, Iro, if you would, please take us through it.
Carthaginians kills and 12 placement points. Team has they just continue to dominate, and yeah, I don't know what to say about them. They're amazing and they continue to showcase that. But in second is DSG, Don't Stop Gaming, with 20 points, 2 noobs, 1 cheater. Sort of picking up quite the eliminations as well. And that consistency we are seeing from the team, 18 points. ATK Esports now on 8. Dark Esports in 5th with 8, tied with ATK. In 6th is Aquaman with 7. Project Rise with 5 points. 9 Gaming in 8th place with 4 points, and Vibing and in 9th, and Punks in 10th.
Ooh. So, I mean, that's an interesting run now. If we look at it, Team Bench not making it to the first page this time around. I mean, Amazuwus as well, another team that we didn't see. The Pretty Pink Ponies team that we were very excited about, also not making it. Oh, yeah, this is the one that I was going to see. I saw them go out pretty early on. I believe it was to the Carthaginians, actually. I mean, when we saw them, they had 1 member remaining, and then I think they actually might have run into Vibin, not too sure. But either than that, they were one of the teams that ran out in those 16 to 20th spots with not a single kill to their name, meaning that they're not picking up any of those points. And it's weird. It's very weird, because these are the teams that we are expecting, and we mentioned at the beginning of this evening that we are expecting teams that we thought are going to be in the finals to not make it through, obviously, which is the nature of these qualifiers. But Tendo, as it stands at the moment, is this what you expected coming through to the second game, getting ready for that third match?
I think, looking at exactly, the opposition in terms of just like what the Carthaginians are putting up on the table, about like a really good understanding, of like, okay, this is kind of like how things are going to go. For example, Group A, we kind of understood how everything's going to be, straight cut. And Group D, we kind of understood how it was going to go. But it was always Group B and C, right? The two groups with what, JSN and then the Carthesians, where these North African teams just come out of nowhere and they just kind of stun us with what is going on, right? And I mean, yeah, there's a couple of teams that are performing a little bit worse for wear as it stands. I think they'll just pull the socks up during the second half. There's still a number of games to go through that they can recover from. But I mean, hey, it's not over just yet. I feel like, not to cast discursive, but for them to win 4 out of 4 games tonight, I find it really hard to believe. I mean, in this game, you can't even count out the ponies who you guys have been repping so much about. It just depends on how it's played out, the positioning at the end of the day, and that's going to be the ultimate decider.
What's interesting, when we looked at the Carthaginians in their group, they weren't actually the ones picking up those Ws at the end of the day. They were the ones picking up all the kill points and still running away in terms of points, but it was Don't Stop Gaming coming through and picking up those placement points in the form of winning those champions from those matches, because the Carthaginians would actually be going out. So the fact is that we're not seeing a repeat of that, and this time around, the Carthaginians have already picked up 2 games, which is an improvement if you can somehow improve from the previous performance, an improvement from their previous group performance coming through now in the semi-final group, which is a considerably more competitive group. It does beg the question about who is going to be able to take them out. But that is a question for the third map coming to your screens at this moment in time. And of course, our lovely casters, Tendo Plays and Iro OG, will be taking you through all the action and hopefully answering my question about who's going to be as its moment. Semi-finals brought to you by the Apex Legends African Throwdown. Guys, take it away.
I mean, here we go, right? Halfway point. You've kind of got your strategies down as to exactly how the lobby is playing through right here. Arrows. Or now, I mean, it's time to implement it. You had your jab in the first game, and then, like you said, you kind of come into the second game after having your jab and reinventing a little bit of your strategies. Now you have your strategy, and now you kind of just need to put it down and lay down the law.
I don't know, man. I felt like we were going to get such a more slower paced gameplay. like even Group C game 2, something I thought something was going to come out like to the same extent as that game we had in Group C game 2, but it's aggression, man. It's aggression, and for the most part, it's battle royale, and we don't usually see that coming into the next phases. It's meant to be harder, but for some weird reason, players are just dropping. Players are dying, and it's questionable. Like why? I mean, obviously, Carthaginians are at fault over here, but they're only killing a third of the lobby. So what's happening to the 40 other players? I mean, it's crazy.
Bad decision making, perhaps, just getting the comms mixed up. These are the small things that we don't get to really watch. I think a really nice thing that they do over on the official ALGS broadcast is that we get listen-ins, right, to what the players are doing and exactly the comms, and you can just tell if a team is going to win the game during the looting phase, right? That is just
Yeah.
one thing that is tried and true with Apex Legends that you can get from any pro. Just for the most part, right? So I just think right now, I think a lot of teams' comms is just not on. I think that's probably what's hindering them.
I don't know. Like chemistry has to exist. That is why you guys are playing, and yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. Maybe today, for the most part, some of these guys are not having that chemistry. Maybe it was the weekend. It is a crazy Monday for most of some, and yeah, we're just gonna have to see and wait for finals to see what that's gonna be looking like. Maybe even more so, we get to see how tomorrow is gonna be because some of these guys they play differently. Nibble Esports is so much so Carthaginians of Semi 2, and it's going to be interesting. I want to see a more of a end game where we have like 6 squads, 5 squads, full on squads alive going head to head, and it's not something that we can pinpoint Carthaginians are going to win. It's going to be a crazy, it's going to be a bloodbath, and that's what I really would love for the finals here in the Apex Legends African Throwdown. It's what I'm hoping for, and hopefully we get to see it in the finals.
Yeah, definitely. I think in the finals, I don't think the Carthaginians will really be on this much of a rampage. There's going to be too many teams in that lobby that will probably be a bit too much of an opposition. I mean, like you said, like the likes of Nibble, we don't have WRG in this lobby, for example, right? So there's still a lot of these teams, from the opposite side that will become an issue. And they'll become an issue for the rest of the teams, right? The ATKs, the etc., etc. And that's just what makes BR hard, what makes Apex Legends a very hard esport. It's just the unpredictability of which team is really willing to pop off on the day. And look at Fragment right now. It feels
Ooh,
like there's
heavy,
traffic and there's
heavy
a lot
contention.
of people there. Zone pulling to the south side. So lots of teams in that area probably pretty happy. And I mean, I think you remember, we casted the Group A, group stage games where two noobs, one cheater pretty much just dominated the entire day because they were gifted that pool, right? Where they're
Yeah.
on the dome. Where they at the dome. I'm not too sure if they landed there this time around. I've been seeing them for the most part. But if they're there, then maybe we do have a different winner in today as we're in with Drow.
Yeah, and it does look like for the most part it's team benched up against Drow. And there's a rev 10 over here. Maybe, I don't know. Was it a full rev 10 from Drow? No, yeah, it is. It looks like for the most part, if you want to counter, you're going to have to become a rev 10. But however, the Octane is going to get taken out, and Drow is looking to maybe respond back with some aggression. Will they be able to do so with the votes? It is a beam when close, but not too good at a distance. However, Aquatic Amps has a All-Star. He's also done the damage, and now you can see Rondon and Ket also get involved, and it's now Apoti who's left in this position as Aquatic Arms is just looking at the window for the most part. Have they gotten the team wipe? I think they have. Yeah, I think that's done and dusted.
Yeah, they cleaned that fight up real nice and well. We're down to 19 squads. Unfortunately, there for Drow, who did finish 10th in their group. So, I mean, you can kind of see those teams that struggled to even qualify for the semifinals still struggling here in the semifinals. Project Rise, in a bit of a situation. They do have the high ground to work with. Those fences, not really giving them cover, but the fences are definitely going to be a deterrent. So now, Rollers, who perform so well in their group stages, haven't been really performing up to par so far in the semi-finals. Just trying to find a little bit of footing. But now Project Rise backs them off for now, as they'll be able to reset in their area.
Project Rise, they were really the teams to pop off in Group A. We haven't seen too much from them this time around. A lot of these teams have been on the back end, dying quite early, getting those rotations in a tough moment in mid games. And, it's two noobs, one cheater, sort of helping out quite a lot in terms of their eliminations. Their placements, however, hasn't been that juicy. Just before we get into that talk, however, Drip Apex and Team Bench look to be on a fight as Aquatic Arms gets knocked over here. Will Drip Apex, that's a one-on-one situation, but it does look like there's third party. It's Vinegar, Jazz, and Majan to join in over here. Rondon and literally on quite the low HP. Alpha trying to get a disengagement as he is also on height right here. It's vibing to say hello, and let's see exactly what happens.
Bit of a stack happening in here. Pretty pink ponies. Also involved at the bottom here. Ooh, the beam onto Dizzy. Dizzy goes down to the hands of Jazz. Jazz absolutely shreds him. Hood's vibing in an awkward position to try and respond to the team of the ponies. And I mean, both vibing in the ponies, two teams that we're kind of favoriting here to kind of get out of the semi-finals. They performed so well in their group stages. They gave us a really good show, really good gunsmen all around, and play the game all the time. Niggas disconnected though from the team Pretty Pink Pony, so they are fighting as a duo. Ooh, these sky nades could be huge. It's a Kobe of note with those sky nades coming in from Jazz. He's gonna try to sneak up in here, and they don't see him. The headshot comes through. He goes down, Alphon, and vibing is crumbling right now at the hands of the ponies, who are already playing at a disadvantage. But right now, exactly why I said, between vibing and the ponies, you want to see any one of these guys in those finals, but it's going to be tough when you have to go up against each other like this.
What a bloodbath coming in. 2v3, and then I don't even know what to say about those grenades. They were just able to do the most over there and change the scenes, and it is going to be a GG's for vibing as they, vibing did that right here.
Yeah, vibing does go down, unfortunately. The ponies get the one up, and Punks here looking to gatekeep a team, trying to make a rotation in. And on the opposite side, Heavy Guacamole trying to pop some shots off. It is the team of Aquaman. Aquaman, who as well in their group stages, they kept us on thin ice, just worrying for them to see if they can qualify, and they eventually did make it to qualify here, and you would hate to see them go out early. And I mean, look, we're seeing a lot more teams in the zone here, right, Iro, already? Yeah. Maybe not in the final zone. Maybe the predictions for the final zone have been a little bit off, but DSG, it's just clutch now. Gone down. CCP, who we're getting a bit of a better look from, who haven't really been performing in the last two games, now looking to pull in with their performance of the night. Picking up some kills here is Death's Joker. Zone is pulling in, so team does have to worry about their rotation now.
Yeah, Death Joker, who died of Spawn game 1. We didn't see too much from them game number 2. Picking up DSG is going to be a massive confidence boost going into that end game. For DSG, I don't know what the play will be, for game number 3, but Clutch is left alone. He is able to do some clutch moments as we find Aquaman Nexus, who was, the rat of game number 2, to sort of solo it all the way to top 3. Mr. Titan, Nexus, and Heavy Guacamole now need to find themselves in somewhat battle as they get closer and sort of stick to each other. Not to the most likes though, as the two are outside and Heavy Guacamole will be in the dome over here. But it's OG who's also, haven't been that much on the front end of the leaderboard. So slow paced gameplay that we're going to get from the team. However, they managed now to connect with that All-Star. So OG really trying to do the most they can. They don't want to fall short right now because this could be a progress or elimination out of the tournament. So we have to see exactly what the decisions will be for OG over here.
Yeah, man, and that's always a worry at the back of your head, right? You know, this is it. If you falter in the semi-final, you don't really get a second opportunity, unfortunately. And I mean, Aquaman didn't really find any kills in that last game. I mean, they got 7 points, but those were all placement points, right? So they've really just been opting for their rotations, and now they're getting caught out here. Aquaman, one goes down, heavy guacamole, falls to the ground flat. The rest is coming through. Ominous taking up a lot of damage from the nades. There's resetting roll here, the team of the Aquaman. It does seem like there's a lot of traffic in and around the area that might be causing a little bit of pressure from the outside here, unless one player has made a really sneaky play to go up. And it actually is some traffic. It's Punks. Punks is here involved. So now we have Aquaman, OG, and Punks all stacked on top of each other, waging war. Punks on the top of the roof, controlling a lot of the high ground real estate to really detect how things go. Nexus is the only one alive, perhaps, on the team of Aquaman, it looks like. As now it's Ominous versus Punks. On the opposite end, ATK and Cartesians are in a fight. Krillix goes down to Idamino, so fight's all over. Oh, the one goes down on Ominous, and Punks is looking to get into this with a bit of an advantage, and there's not much here that can really happen. Astros is down for the count. It's just Shambiz and Fortune. The portal, though, the portal was good. Really good portal, actually, to get out. They can make it away for now.
Yeah, they need to play passive. I mean, we just talked about how important this moment is. Shambi is trying to get into maybe grabbing the ban over here to get a reboot, and then we will see a full team, and there's Fortune as well trying to disengage, and I'm praying and crossing my fingers that they're able to do so. But it's also Punks who's still taking on the action, and OG just may be eliminated as they absolutely beam, but it's a kill who now needs to kill as well as Tremble. Yes, Fortune and Shambi is putting into a shamble position. Tremble, however, gonna be knocked, so it's a 2v2, so Punks also not gonna be that much aggressive.
They redeployed! They're redeployed! They're out! I think OG redeployed. They did have that option. I did see the player with it. And if they were able to get it out unscathed, what a big rotation coming in there from OG. Punks also leaving worse for wear. Just Akil and Jeeves up. And yeah, they made that rotation.
Definitely.
They got the banner as well.
What a moment here. This is scary for them because you don't want to get them eliminated this on early. So their hopes and dreams are still living to make it into the next phase. They do get that respawn coming into the action. So absolute GGs, they risk their lives getting the banner. They risk their lives getting that rotation out, but they managed to do so. They rocket away and get this respawn into the play. So now we are down to 13 squads, 32 members. And I don't know, you said Carthaginians and ATK were in the action, and now we're on board with Carthaginians over here. But it does look like it's Rollers on the other end who's trying to deal the most. And Lay, he's going to get absolute beam. And now we can see exactly what can come into the play. So for the action that went down with ATK, we do only see Chambi sort of alone over there. Does that mean Carthaginians had eliminated 2 of the members from ATK? Yes, Sobran with the Q on Octane. They don't care. They're going to go in for the Repton, and that's an absolute beam. The Totem coming back right now. Sobran gets sent back. Ebot gets sent back. And it's now down to Idomino, who has been doing the most for the pot over here. He's absolutely going to get this knock. Will he be able to do the most? He's just moving left, right, and he does get the action in. Now Domino and them can get back into this one. It's Ebot who's going to be sending into the action. Here comes a knock. I think this is a team wipe. Carthaginians, honestly, just storm rolling the players. It's now the Octane left alone, but it's not going to be enough. They get the revive on Ebot, and that's just going to be a GG's. As Carthaginians are a no-stop moment. Will they be coming out with a literally champion for the 3rd time here, Tendo? What is happening with this team?
I don't even know, man. It's just expert play with the rep push. Oh, the ponies are out! The ponies are down to the hands. I believe of OG, it looks like OG making big rotations here, and they're gonna get all this loot to work with, but on close by, it's the Carthaginians, I'm pretty sure. And now they're gonna be in a tough spot, but on the other side, it's 69 Gaming, who are in a battle of their own, but no, OG is going down. It's just Fortune. Fortune's out. Fortune's down. It's Dog, who've adopted the playstyle of the Rev have come in to swoop up OG, and OG go down to Dark Esports. Dark Esports looking to make a name for themselves in this one, and they finished 9th in their group stage game. But hey, man, they're looking good to maybe come through again and hit another 9th cheeky spot. But now the zone is going to be pulling away towards that Lava City side, and there's no teams there except for that one team, and I don't know. I think that's 2 noobs, 1 cheater. It has to be 2 noobs, 1 cheater holding that spot of the zone. All these teams are going to be fighting. Yeah, I mean, even though the Carthaginians are kind of on a rampage, they're even taking out Dark right now. They're going to be caught in so much transit.
Yeah, no, 6ix9ine Gaming as well, trying to do the most they can, getting in the beams, and you can tell it's back to lobby over here, trying to do exactly that and send these oppositions to the lobby. But for the most part, it is Rise who they seem to be sort of saying, hey, neighbors, can we come into your home? And I don't think it's going to be happening because Daddy Cool has set up a fortify of defense over here, and they got their room set up, and doesn't look like they can actually set some realty over there. So let's see what will be happening. We do see now we are down to 6 squads, 15 members, and the action has just been on rolling and rolling. And these players are getting quicker at that eliminations, and you blink, you miss. You can't blink here, Tendo, because the action just keeps on going on for us.
Do you see how there is no teams coming from the Lava City side, right? So essentially all the teams are gonna have to filter towards with 2 noobs, 1 cheater. I believe that has to be and yeah, Daddy Cool taking a couple of shots. They're holding a lot of real estate in that zone. There's so many teams fighting out. Oh, Daddy Cool comes through with the longbow, forces the Wraith Q. She's gonna get out of there, but the zone right now is gonna be a big situation. It looks like CCP right now. That's Joker, who's the only one up. Daddy Cool's getting beamed from across here. Ebod. Oh my goodness, Carthaginians and Project Rise have to get into a battle here on their rotation. Who's gonna win this one out? Carthaginians are looking good though. There's so much carnage on the edge of the zone, but I have to just wonder what is happening in front. Look at the play to use the geyser. The zone's taking away at them for the most part. Magistron is still up. He's still alive. He's out though, down for the count. Some of the Carthaginians are just making their way in here, just waltzing into the zone, and now they're taking up another fight. They're cleaning up another fight, rather, let me say here, as they're on a rampage, guys. 4 squads up in the zone here.
Carthaginians. What more can we say about this team? They're using the Qs, they're using their outs, they literally setting the dominance, and 3 squads, 7 members, so there is a little bit of a rat over here, and we do see exactly who that could possibly be. It is ATK Chandy, 1 noobs, 2 cheater, keep messing up their names, but Via's over there. They've set up, and you know, they got really lucky with the zone, so they had to just sit docks and wait for everything to come through. But it's a crepe over here, and does he connect? No, he doesn't. He's just trying to get this.
He didn't notice. Chambi didn't notice.
Chambi. Will they get it?
Oh,
Is he emoting?
His calculations, I think, are just a little bit too off the distance.
Yeah.
Oh, Chambi is playing with fire. Chambi is playing with fire. Chambi knows at this point that, like, hey, man, I don't think I'm getting out of this one. That's for sure. Holding at the top of this building. And I mean, now we're just in a really long game of arenas, guys, basically. We're just like, you know, an extra spectator in the form of Chambi just here to just, you know, cause a little bit of trouble. Oh, Cheetah Boy now does see the Carthaginians. He's popping off those shots. They're going to look for another rotation, the Carthaginians. They don't want to take this fight right now.
I don't see how they can make the rotations unless they go full on right side, but they're gonna try cut into the caves, and we can see 2 noobs, 1 cheater able to lock them in, maybe, as they set up over here. A couple Oxstars being thrown as well as the Knuckle cluster. They're being, but it's a crepe on Vias that maybe could be the clutch moment. You can see now they're going in for full right side, and 2 noobs, 1 cheater is just there to respond.
Oh, did he hit that shot? Oh, but Chambi's here to be the griefer of the day. I lied, we're still in the BR game. Chambi's still here. Chambi's willing to play. Chambi knows exactly who's over there. And Chambi's gonna beam him down here on the sidelines. The Carthaginians, unfortunately, it looks like your reign of terror is coming to an end here. ATK's very own Chambi, as well as 2 noobs, 1 cheater, have something else to say. But now Vias with the Kraber is still trying to pop up a couple of shots here. He sees exactly who's left over. It's gonna be Sabron, and I actually wouldn't have it any other way. Sabron, Chambi, 2 cracked players up against 2 noobs, 1 cheater. But I mean, you have to favor 2 noobs, 1 cheater in this situation. Let's Chambi taking a couple of shots, not really connecting anything. Everything's going to be steady for now.
You did call it quite earlier, that they've managed to pull the zone, and maybe they will also just pull the champion moment over here. Bradley sort of positioning himself. They got a widespread area, so if any of these teams from ATK or Carthaginians now need to rotate, they will indeed have that widespread. And it's champion against Sabron. But no, it doesn't look like they're going to go in for that 1v1 situation, which we'd so love to see right here.
I would love to see the 2 of them roll it out. Oh, Chambi's got the high ground, takes a couple of shots. Chambi's going in. Chambi's a madman. Chambi knows he needs this kill. He doesn't find him on the spray just yet. He spins around the corner for Sabron. Does so much damage. As the punches and the kicks from Chambi. It's Mike Tyson on the scenes. And Chambi really doesn't have anything else to play for but to go out as the man that took down Sabron in the final boxing match here. As it looks like 2 noobs, 1 cheater is going to come in, swoop in to close him out, but just not yet. It looks like he's living for a little bit longer, a little bit of a lifeline. As Cheetah Boy is looking for an opening onto Chambi. And I mean, Chambi's done it all now. Chambi's done it.
He is
I need an autograph. I need an autograph.
He is the man of the moment, the man of this entire semis. As he's still trying to do the most he can. He's using the Q both, but unfortunately it does look like, however, that arraign is going to come to an end as 2 noobs, 1 cheats as well, end the streak that we were having out from Carthaginians. And for the most part, we have to thank Chambi, because Chambi is the one who killed a 1v3 situation, not progressively, but it happened. It happened. The boxing moments, what an intense situation.
So, I mean, I was waiting to find out which team is going to be taking out the Carthaginians, and this time around, Chambi said, no, thank you. I'll be taking that title today. Coming through with an absolute performance of a lifetime, just playing like, I don't even know how to explain that. Tendo, can you try and like describe what we just witnessed?
I think Chambi just displayed the it's never over until it's over. It's not over until the fat lady sings. I mean, whatever idiom you want to use basically is going to be the what you got to use there, right? I mean, and it's good. You have 2 noobs, 1 cheater holding that side of the zone comfortably. They understand everything that's happening on that side. They are able to push the Carthaginians into a rotation that they know that isn't favoring them, right? And Chambi is just there on the opposite side. And I mean, an MVP well-deserved here. He's the giant stomper at this point. We're going to have to call him.
New title awarded to ATK's Chambi himself, the giant stomper, coming through with 3 kills and 2.1k damage. And I mean, all that damage was into the backs of the Carthaginians, the team that has been reigning supreme up until this matchup. Unfortunately, ATK did not take the W from that game, but they picked up so much damage and surely enough kills that we should be seeing them quite comfortably in that top 10, but we'll wait for those standings after we come back from the break. I just can't believe that this is who was the answer to who can take out the Carthaginians. This is the team that I was waiting for. It was Chambi. Can you imagine if the rest of ATK was alive in that as well? It
would have gone to ATK. I mean, that confidence boost that Chambi would have brought to the team would have been spectacular.
Absolutely beautiful. You cannot sleep on the Apex Legends African Throwdown action that is coming your way. We still have one more map left over for the first day of the semi-finals. We still have an entire second day of semi-finals tomorrow. So please stay with us while we go to a short break. And if you haven't already, take this time to go check out the NODWIN Gaming Africa website. You want to catch up on all the extra content and maybe some of the standings that you've missed up until this point. Other than that, we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to the Apex Legends African Throwdown action. That is the semi-finals about to go to the last map. But first up, let's take a look at the standings from our third map of the evening and see who actually ended up on top, because we finally had, what did we call it? The Giant Killer come to the party in the form of Chambi taking out the Carthaginians, although the Carthaginians still picking up those kill points. Tendo, if you would, please take us through it.
Of course, we've got the Carthaginians sitting up top with 17 kills only, so they weren't really doing as much as we saw them doing. But the kill distribution in the lobby is still quite odd, in my opinion. A little bit more distributed, but still very top heavy. 2 noobs, 1 cheater coming in there after winning that game, pretty much just controlling the entirety of the zone. 80k, honestly, the highlight there being Chambi and cleaning up the Carthaginians in that corner was really great to see watch and happen. CCP then coming in at 469 Gaming at 5th. We got Team Benched at 6th place. The Ponies come through, picking up some crucial points for themselves here at 7th. Dark Esports at 8th as well. You know, picking up some points that they desperately need to stay in the running here. Don't Stop Gaming coming at 9th. Punks at 10th. And I mean, yo, man, Ominous, Project Rise, Viping, Aquaman, Rollers. Yo, guys, these are teams that, I mean, I'm just kind of heartbroken to see how the day is going so far. Let's hope they can, you know, pull it back in.
It's exactly that, though. Obviously, we're just looking at the match standings as they come to us. We're not going to be checking out the overall standings till the end of the last game. So till the last possible second, we're going to be on the edge of our seats to see if these teams will be pulling through to the finals. But it's heartbreaking to see these amazing teams in, you know, the latter half of the standings board, you know, in the parts where we're not expecting them to be, and we obviously don't want to see them being, because it means that they might not be going through to the finals. And we said this is potentially what's going to be happening today, but hey, it is what it is. I guess the seedings happen for a reason, and the teams make it to where they make it for a reason, and hopefully we will still be seeing those fan favorites coming through to the next phase. But for the time being, it's definitely looking in favor of, you know, the Carthaginians, 2 noobs, 1 cheater, 80k. Those are some teams that we've seen being quite consistent. Omnius Gaming, I feel like, has had a pretty rough evening in terms of the luck that they've had. Obviously, just finishing off, you know, in that previous map, managing to get the res come through, managing to actually take a team wipe, and as they're looting and getting ready for the next, another third party comes, and another third party comes, and they eventually get taken out. And Iro, I mean, it happens. It's battle royale at the end of the day. But what are some of the points that you could be taking from that Omnius Gaming? If you're the other teams trying to, you know, rework your strategy for this next one, what's your thoughts?
Honestly, I'd say that game, they played it quite well. You know, they got into the action. They tried doing the most they can. They knew when to disengage and try get that revive. And then from there, they, like you mentioned, continued getting involved into the action. But I feel like maybe hugging zone for game number 4, trying as much as possible to get placement points. Even if you get top 3, we can definitely guarantee a qualifier into the final rounds for the teams like Omnis Gaming and so forth. So try to not engage in the same position that you find yourself in terms of rotating the same pathway, because you are going to be finding yourself against the same teams game 1, 2, and 3. So just stick to your different routes, but you know, you don't know who you're going to go meet that side as well. So it's scary moments here for some of these teams who really need that little bit of a boost in terms of points to make it into the next phase. And I'm hoping that they grab them in just so that they can secure that top 10 position.
And Tendo, anything to add on to the teams that are desperately needing those points now? What are some of the strategies that they can employ, maybe to counter those Revtains, maybe to just hold on to as many placement points as they can moving into the last game of the first day of the semifinals?
Yeah, I mean, the last game is definitely a pretty crucial one, right? Because either you're sitting comfortably ready for your finals, or you're just clinching onto what you can. And I think Caustic can be a really big answer in the lobby right now. I mean, especially with how aggressive the team of the Carthesians are playing. I mean, Papa Caustic right there. I mean, Project Rise kind of got it good as well with the Watson play as well. Something just to stop their push, just to delay them a little bit longer here and there. You know, the Jigibis are good as well. You know, I also would say holding positions more instead of maybe looking for more of these fights, right? Because I mean, we're kind of having a conversation where we're just like behind the scenes, like, hey guys, how do they really stop these guys, like these teams, right? You know, we're giving them opportunities in the lobby to be successful. You know, the teams in the lobby, by taking up a lot of fights, by kind of mimicking their playstyle in a way, right? You enable a team to continue kind of dominating now, flip things around. Let's be steady. Let's play slow because they're playing fast. That's kind of how you counter these kind of things.
I think that is a crucial point for a lot of the teams, especially holding on to. I mean, if you see those third parties coming through, if you know for a fact that the Carthaginians are taking a fight and you can actually get involved in that, maybe find that totem, maybe throw some thermites on that totem or just wait and post it. You know, it's a very easy thing when you do find those Reptane totems. You know a team's going to be coming back to it one way or another, especially if it's active. So just holding that, waiting for those, easy pickings when they come back. They might be a little bit hurting. They might be obviously not ready and prepared to be taking a fight off the bat. So it could be an easy way for some teams to actually also grab some extra kill points, and especially if they do manage to take out the Carthaginians, especially early on, I think we might be seeing a very different lobby. But I don't know. I feel like the issue with rotations hasn't been as prevalent today. I don't know if I'm just sugarcoating it, Tendo. What are your thoughts about it?
Look, I think there's a lot of teams that are making rotations and holding some good rotations. The problem is, I think, the timing on the rotations, right? And that goes back to, like, the grander story of today is just the pacing of how the games have been going, right? Because I think we can all testify to that. We kind of just like blink and then all of a sudden everybody's dead, right? We had in that last game so many people that love ciphering waging in this battle, in this war, just trying to cross the open land, and then all of a sudden we're down to 2 noobs, 1 cheetah, Camby, and the Carthesians all of a sudden, right? So it's really just the rotations are good. I think the timings need to either be delayed a little bit more or just progressed a little bit further, right? And then you can kind of just like fall into the right spot here and there.
Speaking about spots, I mean, Ara, have you seen any, landing spots that you feel like haven't really been utilized, that have been pretty empty in terms of like good loot that's just sort of sitting there and that's not being, utilized to the best of its abilities?
Not really. We do have a widespread of POIs being dropped at, and that's really what's good. For the most part, I feel like Fragment could be, less contested, and players can then choose to go to Overlook maybe, and then we would have a more distributed loadout of players, and that could even out who dies of spawn and the situations like that. But I think it's perfect the way it is right now. You have to somehow eliminate the players here in the battle royale, or else it's just going to be very intense in those mid games. A lot of these players will be fully equipped with the loadouts that they prefer, and that's just going to be a GG's in the books. But yeah, I'm really excited to see how they've landed from game one to to the current game that we're about to get into, and I'm hoping that it stays consistent in this game over here.
Well, talking about this game over here that's running to your screens, it is, of course, the last map of the first day of the semi-finals of the Apex Legends African Throwdown, brought to you by NODWIN Gaming Africa. Our lovely casters will be taking you through all the action. It's Tendo Plays, it's Ira OG here to give you the spice that is Apex Legends for Africa. All the bragging rights are on the line here, so guys, take it away.
All right. I mean, this is an ultimate moment for a lot of these squads. It's do or die. You know what I mean? I mean, if you can't make the points up here, there's no real other opportunity. And I mean, I'm thinking of Project Prize, Hang too, potentially probably are in the top 10, right? We haven't seen the overall standings, but how well are you in the top 10, right? At the end of the day, Iro, right?
Yeah.
So sitting at first to fifth, yeah, we're fine,
Yeah.
we're fine, being
Fine.
cool. But as soon as you start going below that mark, right, you start to worry, right? Because it just takes one team, one game from vibing that just pulls them from maybe where they're sitting now all the way to the top of the leaderboard, that pushes your team slowly down more and more.
Yeah, no. So that's what I'm saying. For the likes like Ominous, Aquaman,
Even Ponies, I think.
Ponies, yeah, they had
good
Punks
rough.
as well. Punks as well. They had one good game. I don't know. I don't know if they had a decent game 2 and 3. My
I
brain
mean,
is
innovated as well.
Oh,
Haven't been
like-
looking too good, man. And I mean,
yeah.
these are
But
teams
I mean,
that really...
even for innovative gaming, I don't think it's possible. Even with this, unless they come through with like.
I
a
mean, the way
Carthaginian
innovative
game.
came into this like for semifinals was with one game, right? At the end
Okay,
of the day.
true. Yeah, true.
So they need one game to keep themselves in here. I mean, CCP as well. I mean, look, these teams could be in the top 10, right, ladies and gentlemen, but we're just worried based on their performances, right? They haven't really been performing like the likes of the, Two Noobs, One Cheetah, the Carthaginians, the ATKs, right? They haven't had
Yeah,
that hold in the lobby that we keep screaming their names. So we're just worried for them right now, how it's looking.
yeah,
Meta
and
wise, comp wise, I mean, do you think we've seen
things
changes?
it's changed a lot from the group stages. I mean, I don't know what the run out was with Carthaginians. Did they do the same Rev 10 for them?
I don't think they had the Octane, but they were playing Revenant. I think they were using Wraith rather.
Yeah, I'm
So
not
the
seeing a lot
Seer,
of
Wraith, and
Gibbies.
Octane. Yeah,
Gibbies.
Gibby's also a really good legend to pretty much counter those pushes, right? At the end of the
Yeah,
day, because you do provide the team with a little bit of extra cover to work with, a little bit more, or what's the word that I want to use here? There's a little bit more skill into bubble fights, right? That not
definitely.
everybody really can grasp. That can
Those
really help.
tap left, right, out, and in of the bubble helps a lot. And we have an even eight. It's crucial. But yeah, that's what I'm not seeing in this moment. And especially for endgame, Gibby is a fantastic legend. I main Gibby for the most part, and I know what he's capable of doing. And if you don't have a Gibby on your team, it's almost hard to make those rotations in the end game. You can almost sort of set a mid pathway, throw it as far as possible, and then try and make the moving zone rotation. And that could help you quite a lot. And we're not seeing Gibbies. Yeah, but for the most part, this African Throwdown has been unique in its most ways. It's very different to season one. We are seeing a lot new names in here. The Carthaginians, absolutely setting their dominance over here. But it's not easy. Even like as much as they're getting all the kills and so forth, and the consistency, there's still competition on the map. And this is just semifinals one, and we can tell that it is in a final in its own way because of how intense the situations are. And we're just gonna have to wait to see what would it mean for the final day, against all these teams, Carthaginians, ATK, Noble Esports, Tendo. Like, it's not going to be easy to predict or to put money on these players and these teams. Say they can come through with a overall win, and that's what's making it more interesting. And going into each game, we are seeing different sort of drops, different people dominating, and it's a good live story. And we're about to close the chapter here with game number 4.
So in the 7 games that the Carthesians have played already, guys, they've won 3 of those games. So right now, could we maybe see them win a 4th to round out the 8 games that they've played so far with a 50% win ratio? Right now, it's not really sitting there, and there's still lots of
Yeah.
competition, like you've been saying, in and out of the lobby. I mean, you go up against anybody, right? You're not always guaranteed the win. And I mean, here we go.
Look at how many Rev 10s there are.
I mean, they can't beat them, join them, guys. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just got to do it. And let's hope it brings the success.
Yeah, let's
these
hope.
teams.
We've seen a lot of Rev 10s show up over here, and it is also the bottom 11 to 20. So maybe they're like, guys, let's follow the first guys. Let's follow Carthaginians. Maybe we win the game. And it comes through with skill. You have to use it at the right time and play to your advantage. For Carthaginians, it looks like they've been using a Rev 10 for quite some time. They know that Seer Rev 10 is broken, and that's why they're utilizing it. You set a dome on Seer, you know exactly where your players are. The Rev 10 comes into play, boom, bam, bada boom. You get out of that and you get the kills.
Zone now is actually going to be a pretty big decider, I feel, for exactly who is going to be winning out this game. And look, we got a quick early scan courtesy of one of the teams already down there. It's going to be putting towards Countdown and Landslide, and yeah, open area mixed with all this like open terrain with all the rocks, and foliage, plus the buildings as well. So really tough spot. Staging right now is kind of popping off. Rollers, I believe, is going up against Project Rise, and Rollers, we saw them in the group stage games play from this position and even win out a fight, I believe, against Ominous. Ooh, the sniper shot comes through clean, Magistron. So Project Rise definitely going to clean this one up. Whoa! Big headshot in there. Big damage now on the team of Rollers. And if there's any time to move up on this kind of damage, Daddy Cool does sense that one out. Does he get another shot there, or am I just going bunker crazy? He does look like he does connect one.
Does he? I mean, for the most part, they've done the most already, and I don't know why the call hasn't been to go and get into the action over here. You know, they're disengaging, but it does look like they're disengaging into another team. So that's not going to be a good look of their Lava City has Mama Uas and another team of them. I'm not sure exactly which team that is going to be, but if they do find themselves fighting, it's not going to be the best because Lava City is not that huge. And the loadout that you do get out of 6 players is just going to be a GG's. Innovative Gaming over here as well, taking in a couple shots. We're going to have to see a massive clutch of a game here, Tendo, to see them into the next round.
Yeah, and I mean, Innovative pretty much qualified from their group off one game, so they're very capable of doing it again. Don't Stop Gaming on the opposite side. We've been looking good throughout the day. You know, we've caught glimpses of them here and there, but you also have to worry where their points are standing right now. This push is kind of hectic coming in from Innovative. They're really not backing away from this fight. They really want to take this fight up. They actually zip up, trying to find anybody, but it doesn't really look like they're quite coordinated in the fight thus far. They actually managed to get one down, the team of DSG. Clutch takes down instant kill. Instant kill is out, and this is devastation now for the team of Innovative Gaming. This is it. This is pretty much total for them if they go down at the hands of DSG, and DSG just putting them to absolute work at this point. And I mean, yeah, that's tough. That's just how the cookie crumbles most of the time. Sometimes you pick up the wrong fight and you go down to the hands of DSG, who right now are doing good.
I mean, they looked way more confident and coordinated, DSG. Look how they lined up like a full-on train, back-to-back, ready to deal the damage for the most part. Innovative Gaming doesn't seem to be their night, and we wish them a good farewell and a GG's across the board for making it all the way to here. But this is the end of the chapter for them, as now we're on board with 2 noobs, 1 cheat against Mama was. No, not what we want, but it has to come. Via's taking in a couple damage over here, and he's able to deal in Yuji with his longbow, but Yuji opting in to scope in instead of taking his utilities, which he definitely needs right now. Cheetah Boy with a white Evo on him. If he gets beamed, it's going to be the GG's as well. Via's with the G7 Scout is looking very much damaged. There goes the cluster bust. No, it's his own. And my! Yuji getting absolute beam. There's the call to W key, as you can now see Bradley and Cheetah Boy using the Q of Octane. They're getting here, and it's going to be a GG's for Mamalias as they get absolutely team-wide very quickly. And again, another chapter that we are closing in for a team, which is so saddened to see and happen. Mamalias gets out of this one.
Yeah, man. Unfortunate. One of the streamer teams already down for the count for the finals. Commiserations to Mamas and Unis. They gave a great performance in that group stage, but just unable to continue it here. I think we're seeing Cartesians and ATK fight each other right here. So I think this fight happened once before in the group stages where they were caught in the overlook on a rotation, looking to clean up a team. Right now, both the Cartesians and ATK are pretty much sitting comfortably in that final. But I mean, this fight is pretty crucial for the turn and tide of how this final game is really going to go down. And there's that rev push coming in once again from the Cartesians. ATK just trying to deter them for as long as they can so that everybody can pull back and heal. It does look good. And I mean, look, we don't say this, but distance sometimes is really good to deal with revs, right? Just run away. Sometimes you just got to run away.
That worked so well. You did see...
Oh, Sabran! Dude, what? Frying.
I'll start. And its ice cream was actually going to be, doubt the damage they do. For the most part, they do manage to get a revive, but how long can a Drip Apex survive the raid that is Carthaginians right now? And ATK Esports also looking to get involved. They're not having fully backed out of this one as they take that third-party shot. there goes a flatline beam coming in from Kralix. Will he be able to get any confirmations or knockdowns in here? It does look like, for the most part, Kralix is getting more closer to the Carthaginians. This could be quite tough because they do have that seer, but Sabron as well getting in an absolute beam, and now it does look like it's a push to push onto Kralix, and that's a good Eva 8 damage as he tracks down his opposition. Will he get the beam? Manages to crack. Carthaginians are running all over the place, as well as ATK. It is an eagle battle and a half that we have on our hands over here, as now the Storm is also getting onto the ATK. What could be the play? It does look like Sabroni is going in for a full push onto the players right now. They managed to pick up Kralix, and Kralix is out of the scenes. ATK looking a bit dampened. It does look like he's trying to get in a complete finish. Chambi trying to do the most he can for his team, as well as the I don't know how to say that name, but Chambi right here really looking broken. Sabron on the heights, he's able to deal, but it does look like he's gonna get knocked. Eva 8 from Chambi.
Oh, Chambi!
Manages to crack.
Chambi!
No, will he do
Oh,
so?
he
He
can't!
won't.
Oh my goodness. Edge of my seat, holding my breath for Chambi there. Idamino clutches it up, but they're also deep in the zone right now, the team of the Carthaginians. It's zone 1 still. So not much for them to worry about, but you also have to worry about how much time they're going to waste in this position at the zone, especially looking at how it's going to be pulling away ATK. Yeah, man, you got to ask yourself, what's the options, in front of you? Take the fight, maybe opt for the rotation. ATK just sticks around, I think, a little bit too long for their own good there, and they end up going down. So Heroes in our 3rd game, but unfortunately in our 4th, they'll be out, and I think we'll just catch ATK in that grand finals. Zone scan comes through, and it's going to be pulling deeper and deeper towards that open ground where landslide is. So now teams have to really make these rotations. And I mean, if the Carthaginians somehow make it into that zone with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams in front of them, maybe even 6 teams in front of them, I will be blown away by their performance. But for now, let's worry about these rotations from these other teams, because there's a lot of teams that are really stuck here.
If you look to the east, I think it's east, you do got a team as well very far in zone as they start making those rotations right now. Project Rise finding himself against Ominous, and Ominous definitely do need a clutch of a moment over here.
Yeah, this is a bit of a terrible fight, I think, for either of these ones, right? Because not to say they haven't been performing too well, but I'd have to say right now, if OG loses this one, yeah, there's probably still not conversation, but Project Rise, I feel I might be a little bit afraid, especially with the rest of the teams that are still in the lobby. And I think CCP is close in the area, making their way towards the side. And it's just this stalemate with OG and Project Rise. Oh, it looks like Project Rise is trying to climb from the opposite side. Astros jumps down. Astros has a really good angle to do a lot of damage there. No one really sees him besides Daddy Cool. Daddy Cool's pulling up with the L-Star in the hand, doing a lot of damage, but the damage comes back from Omnis. It's a big fight now. Astros goes down. Astros is down. It's Fortune. Fortune's up. Project Rise is playing as a team here and pulling it together. They clean them up. Lickety split. Project Rise are rising to the occasion, but Death Joker is coming through to do exactly what his name is intended to do with the death. He's trying to swoop on in, doesn't find the angle for now, but it seems like the rest of CCP's in here. I mean, you can't really do much right now as Project Rise. I mean, they're in here for you, they're stuck out for you. Bye, Daddy Cool. Bye, Daddy Cool. Thanks for playing.
Oh, I mean, I don't know what this means for both Ominous and Project Rise.
Right. It's tough because...
And look, Daddy, DSG.
DSG's here, but they're only playing as a duo, I think. So
no, there's Clutch coming in from the bottom as
here.
well, so they're going to get involved as well. And it does look like, for the most part, the players are going to be pinched. The CCP trying to find a disengagement, but they're finding a beam instead. It's a Joker who also needs a clutch, because we haven't seen too much of CCP in this moment, but they are setting in the rails, trying to clear up as much pathway as they can, because they were pinched to the most. Oh, there's a cue from CCP as they try to disengage. They're getting out for the most part. No beams coming in from DSG. Does look like it's a safe rotation. Paul, however, somehow getting knocked. He's gonna find himself needing to be revived or respawned. Cool and Treble and Jeeves as well, saying we want a little bit of this, we want a little bit of that, and we are seeing a literal fest of players come to the party.
I mean, it makes sense though, right? The zone is close to the Lava Fisher countdown area, so I think a lot of teams probably thinking that this rotation is going to be a little bit quiet, but not quite the seams. Aquaman are doing good. They're finding some kills here. They really need kills, the Aquaman, as well. They've been consistent for most of the day, but they just need to follow through and finish things off. The rest is going to be good. Yeah, I'm pretty sure from DSG to get the man back in. The Cartesians are in. They're alive. They're gaming. I see them in the kill feed, taking names as they usually do on that east side of the zone. I wonder exactly where they could be. But there's a lot of teams that still need to make their way in towards that final zone as it closes up in. Lots of zone fights breaking loose. 2 noobs, 1 cheater. Seem to be in a bit of a awkward situation at staging, making their way in. But there's fine for now. 69 Gaming are caught up, trying to back out. Turbo's so weak. Anything at this point would knock that man over.
Yeah, and exactly that. A little bit of a flick in a hair pool and find himself eliminated. Does look like Bradley's gonna make a play over here to get on a height and maybe a position to deal the damage onto these players right now. For the most part, a Turbo and them seem to be positioned ahead, however, and it's just Qs and Qs, and they're getting onto, trying to, for the most part, get onto the heighted position above that Joker, and you can see the flatline now absolutely beaming. It is Cheetah Boy who's set in the damage. 2 noobs now need to try get as much eliminations as they can in this position. 6-9 as well are trying to get involved. For the most part, they are quite low. Flatline damage from Cheetah Boy is just looking so amazing here, Tendo.
Yeah, man, the damage coming in from noobs. 1 cheetah is really good. As teams are just trying to stay alive for as long as they can. They're making this rotation to come and clean up 69, and 69 need to stay alive here because, I mean, they're another one of those teams who we're just clenching. They need a little bit of points to just maybe guarantee them spots in, but they're gonna get cleaned up almost instantly here by 2 noobs, 1 cheetah, and that's gonna be 69 out of this equation. And look at Vyaz, man, with this 30, I'm not this 30, this G7 Scout. Getting them confused. Just doing
Rampage,
damage.
30-30, G7, same thing.
Yeah, man, same group, same thing, same, wait, how's it go? Same WhatsApp group.
Same WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
That I have never heard.
You haven't, honestly?
No, I haven't. It's new for me. We'll bring it on to the next one, though.
Well, Punks though seem to be doing really good actually. You know, I think Punks being consistent in the game. They've been pretty active. They're not really looking to fall asleep for the most part and just trying to make their way into the zone. They do need to be really careful because they are getting gate kept. Zone's gonna start ticking for a lot more damage, and now they really just have the open-ended rotation. It's Don't Stop Gaming on the opposite end of there, man. I mean, look, man, we just keep seeing these fights where teams are running from the zone, caught on the edge of the zone like this, where it just seems, I don't even know how you describe it, man. It's just zone wars, you know?
Yeah, and it does look like, however, we do have at least, you know, some teams in the zone, so that's looking good. But in the center is where it's going to be tough. I mean, you got everyone sort of around you right here. Don't Stop Gaming making exactly that statement where they go into the end games right over here, has with a lot of damage, not that much eliminations to the name, but it is Punks who they're looking at. They are 3-1 connecting just quite a bit. Punks treble G's and then find themselves a good container to sit in for the most part. But it isn't in the zone, so they still need to make the rotation. It does look like they're going to try go in for that dead side along the east, hugging that zone. And here comes now Landslide, where it's going to be a bit interesting. The players who are on height are probably going to be walking away with the win. So it's definitely Carther. Carther. It's Carther on the height here.
Yeah, the Carthaginians are holding their height quite well in the landslide, and I mean, I don't know how they're here, to be honest with you, because they were stuck deep in the zone at Overlook, had to rotate past so many teams in frag, but they were managing to pick up the kills. We saw them in the kill feed do the likes, and now they're here in this conversation now. bit of an interesting storyline that's going on between the teams that are in the zone right now, ladies and gentlemen. The Carthaginians right now have 3 wins in the NODWIN Throwdown, as well as 2 noobs, 1 cheater. So you'd have to say whoever can pick up a win right here will have a 50% win rate so far inside this tournament, which I think will be the highest out of all the teams. So lots on the line for 2 noobs, 1 cheater, and Carthaginian. Wow, but look, the rep push! Oh, but they send him back so quickly. There's almost no hope for that push, but it looks like the push is coming through. Look at Idamino. 2 noobs, 1 cheater. It's the storyline coming to a crumble here, but no, they're holding off. The HP is still really good, but the Oxstars does a lot of damage. Part of the high ground, dealing so much, but it's not enough. Gets knocked on the opposite side. They're still up. Oh, it's just Vyaz. Vyaz is the only one left. Sabron's coming through to clean them up. 2 noobs, 1 cheater. The storyline ends here, and now it's shaping up for Carthaginois coming in as one of our North African representatives from Tunisia, Egypt. Sabron standing in from Turkey. We'd love to see what they've been doing in the lobby so far. Vibing still in the equation there in the corner. I saw Alphon. What's happening there? Are those 2 rats stacked on top of each other?
It looks like it
is.
for the most part.
With a Craven!
Ooh, so we may see some insane moments. Hopefully, Alphon vibing. They need as well as much points. I don't know how consistent they were in the games, but we haven't seen too much from them. However, Alphon living the dreams. It does look like, however, Punks is going closer to Alphon. And there goes the shots. Alphon really not in a good moment as he gets absolute eliminated. Now they get sent back to the lobby. We don't know if that was enough for vibing to actually make it, but what a good comeback we are seeing from Punks. A really good game in there. And they find another rat over here. They get that team out of this one. So both rats, unfortunately, going back out of this one consistently. And however, Sabron absolute beamed. It does look like it's PSG on heights. Another one-on-one situation that we did find him. There's Argemino who's against Clutch, and it's just a little bit of a cover that they have. The Eva 8 going back to back. However, Sabron is not able to back his teammate, and they get that elimination. Oh, Kraber play, but unfortunately, G unable to connect that. Carthaginians are just running all over right here, as it is a one-on-one team left at here. Punks versus Carthaginians.
Look, I like the thinking coming through from Jeeves to try and go for the clip with the Kraber shot, but maybe could have played this one a little bit better, the team of Punks. And I mean, Punks has done it at this point. They know they're in the finals. They're just trying to hold off for as long as they can. They know exactly who's in front of it there, and they're just getting absolutely mowed down here as the Carthaginians right now looking to get this 50% win rate thus far in the African Throwdown. They just tremble up for the most part, and Jeeves, and they're all down. They've got a soft res, and the Carthaginians clean up another game tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Out of the 8 games they've played so far in the African Throwdown here, hosted by NODWIN Gaming, they have won 4 of the games. The most winning team thus far in the tournament.
They definitely going into that finals with a massive confidence of note, and that eliminations that they've continued to grab obviously just boosts their ego, their luck into the African Throwdown over here.
Well, I can say one thing for sure. I'm definitely seeing the Carthaginians moving on to the next phase. I don't think there's a single doubt in my mind that they've picked up enough points tonight to make sure they take one of those 10 slots. However, who the rest of those 10 slots will be, we'll have to wait till the end of the stream to find out. While we get the standings together in our MVP, etc., etc. Tendo, what's been your opinion of today so far? First day of the semifinals.
Interesting, I think, is how I would go back and look at tonight. I mean, I think a lot of the lobby really gave the Carthaginians a lot of free rule, you know, to just kind of run around and do what they kind of want to do. And I think it's just unfortunate, some of the situations that squads put themselves in. I think, you know, decision making definitely is a highlight for me. I think squads just making a few decisions that maybe they shouldn't, maybe they should have done this or that. And I mean, you see it right at the end there, you know, instead of Punks maybe taking that fight a little bit more strategic, you know, they kind of meme it at the end there. I mean, hey, all for a show. Don't get me wrong. You know, I love to scream at the top of my lungs any day of the week if someone does something crazy. But hey, man, sometimes you gotta just make the right decisions and make the right plays here and there. And I think just teams are caught lacking in that sense. And I mean, there's your MVP, guys.
Via the John Wick himself, the Grim Reaper, whatever his name is for today, it is MVP for our last game from 2 Noobs 1 Cheetah, coming through with 2 kills and 2.1k damage dealt and dusted. So absolutely beautiful played from 2 Noobs 1 Cheetah. Unfortunate that they didn't get to pick up that last win, but hey, they surely picked up they're one of those 3 teams that, you know, we feel quite strongly have more than likely made enough points to get themselves through to that finals 10 slot. But it is an interesting day. It's not at all what I expected it to be. I thought we would be seeing a lot more competitive pool, I guess I could say, but it did feel like Carthaginians were just running away with the competition, and it took a lot of teams some time to adjust to that, you know, play style or that tempo, what have you. Iro, what do you think of today? Things have been going the way that they did.
I mean, it went the way that they did because we have literally the top 10 from Group A and Group B go together. And, you know, for the players that came 9th and 10th in both groups, it was just a luck of moment, a single game. So, you know, whereas some of the top 5, top 6, top 7 of both groups were consistent somehow, the competition levels are very, very vast, and we are seeing that in the games. Little bit of a lickety split over here and there, and we're going to get those third parties. So it's just a bloodbath that we had to witness, and Carthaginians were the ones who were setting everything in motion with that Rev 10, also motivating the other oppositions that we have to also do that. So yeah, it was a learning, adaptive moment for some of these guys. Punks looking to touch up that game, hopefully into the top 10 as well. And hopefully we get to see that overall standing soon to see who of these competitors will be going into that final. I can tell it's going to be interesting.
I think it's going to be extremely interesting to see, and unfortunately we will have to say goodbye to those 10 teams that did not make it today, that we know we would have wanted to see move forward. We know we would have wanted to see a lot of teams going forward. You know, I'm very scared to predict who I think won't be going, but if I do see those teams going out, I think I'll be personally very sad, because they are all teams that I feel are very competitive, that, you know, can kick it with some of the best. But today, the Carthaginians, they were just on something else. The same can be said for Chambi, who was just on something else. I guess the only player that was actually managing to take them out for the count for one of our games, which is the reason we had at least one game not go the way of the Carthaginians in terms of winning that final first placement, but they still got enough points purely based off of kills. And it's that Rev 10 coming through today, Tendo, which, you know, we wanted to speak a little bit more about compositions and, you know, what the teams might be picking. I wasn't expecting Rev 10 to come through, obviously, with the added extra of Seer, but having it happen today with the Carthaginians, I feel like they played it to perfection. And here are the match standings for our last match of today. Ten, if you would, please take us through it.
Of course, as we have the Carthaginians coming up there with a 20 and 9 of points, cleaning things up quite well. And then we have Punks coming in at second, with the 2 Noobs 1 Cheetah coming in at third. Then after that, 4th place, Don't Stop Gaming. CCP at 5th place, the Aquaman at 6th. 7th place, we have Team Bench. Strahler came in at 8th, Vibing in 9th. And the Ponies are coming in to round it off there at the 10th. And yeah, I mean, a couple of teams in this game that were hoping to see come in, you know, to the top 10 that are sitting on that opposite end. And it's a little bit disappointing, and you gotta be on the edge of your seat, right? Just waiting to see exactly what happens. And I mean, kills again in the lobby, at least in this match, was again just like top heavy and lopsided, right? You know, not really distributed well amongst the lobby, and there's just like these 2 figures that are kind of just cleaning up and vacuuming everything.
Yeah, sorry, that top score is supposed to be swapped. Obviously, the placement points did go the way of the Carthaginians. They were the ones who won that last match.
I know numbers are tough for us on the podcast, but I was like, wait a minute. I'm pretty sure they won that game, guys.
Even me, I sat there, I was like, listen, I've been here. I did not leave today. But yes, so that top score did swap. Obviously, the overall standings will reflect that when we take a look at it. But I mean, coming to the close of the first day of the semifinals, we did mention that this group in particular was an extremely complex group. I mean, the teams that came through from Group A and Group B were pretty skilled. Were pretty skilled. So throwing, unfortunately, all of those teams into one lobby, I mean, it's in my opinion some of the best that we saw in these groups. And naturally, we were gonna see teams go the distance, and some teams unfortunately not go the distance. I still can't put into words how anxious I was for today, because I really did want to see so many of these teams moving forward, but fortunately, that's not the way that the cookie crumbles this time around. Iro, any last thoughts that you can give for the semifinals, day one coming to a close before we check those overall standings?
Quick, very quick. Pace-wise, elimination-wise, the games, they just ended before even we knew it. So yeah, it was a really good semifinals. I was hoping for more passive-wise, but really good.
Ooh, okay, so yeah, there's just the updated match standings, obviously with the corrected placement points there, but the Carthaginians, the overall points are still there. So I mean, as it stands, you know, those top 10 teams picking up the last remaining points. It again, you know, there's teams towards that latter half of the standings that I don't expect to be there, like ATK, Omnius Gaming. You know, wow,
Yeah,
it's just
it was a tough battle with Carthaginians on the off spawn with ATK Esports, but yeah, they are comfortably into the next round, so that's at least a good part.
Yeah, I can't see that they wouldn't be there, but here they are, your overall standings for the first day of the semi-finals. And as we have it, the Carthaginians reigning supreme with triple-digit points, 73 kills and 43 placement points, leading them in the first spot. And your first top 10 moving through to the finals. Joining them is 2 Noobs, 1 Cheater with 54 points. In third place, it's Don't Stop Gaming with 40 points. ATK Esports slipping on in with fourth place in 38 points. Punks coming through in fifth place with 35. Aquamen have come through in sixth place. Team Benched have made it into the finals with 18 points. Dark Esports going through. Omnius Gaming and carrying a controller player have made it through.
Wow.
So I mean, those are your top 10 moving on to the finals, and unfortunately we will have to say GG, well played, and thank you so much for joining us for the African Throwdown. To 6ix9ine Gaming, Project Rise, Drow5, Pretty Pink Ponies, Bybin, Mama Zawoo's, Drip Apex, Rollers, Insanity, and Innovated Gaming. But unfortunately, your journey ends here. Wow. Tendo, thoughts? Give it to me, please, because I'm lost.
It's shocked, man. I mean, Pretty Pink Ponies, Vibing, Project Rise, Innovated. These are teams that, you know, I kind of expected to maybe be in that top 10, but it's tough, man. It was definitely a really tough day for these teams. I think RNG and Drop Spots really played on those teams that we saw there. They weren't really given an easy time to play throughout it. And I mean, now it's tough because now guys, with that also, I think the Carthaginians also break a Nibbles record of 111 points in the group stage, now topping it to 116. You know, they're now the most winning team. I think right now Nibbles still has the opportunity to kind of like one-hand them in a sense with the wins, right? Because actually I got it wrong. Nibble also had 3 wins in that moment, you know. So we had a point where we had 3 teams. But now, I mean, it's just grand final straight away. And yeah, commiserations to the teams that didn't make it through, and well done to the teams that were consistent on the night. I think they played their very best.
As you said, Ira, the pace of tonight has been insane. Nintendo, the teams, unfortunately, that we really hope to go through, did not. But it was an absolute treat to watch these teams at work tonight, and an absolute treat, obviously, to have them in the African Throwdown Season 2. It's been so good to see them. And it's obviously been so good to listen to Tendo and Ira tonight. And of course, a shout out to our production team and our observers who've been working hard. I can tell you that much to get all the action into the stream. It's been so chaotic, but so wonderful to witness. And of course, the representation again, it's such a highlight for me. But thank you so much for joining us for the first day of the semi-finals of the Apex Legends African Throwdown, brought to you by NODWIN Gaming Africa. And if you haven't already, go check out the website. All the content is there, including the standings, and of course, checking out the socials will help you out there if you want to see all those graphics with the overall standings and extra content, including recaps and build-ups to the next semi-finals and finals as we have them. So please make sure you check out those socials. Other than that, we're going to be saying thank you and good night. We will see you guys tomorrow, same time, for the second day of the semi-finals, and you can bet yourself it's going to be just as crazy and jam-packed with action as it was today. Stay safe, and we hope to see you tomorrow. Cheers.